What up, what up, what up? Man, I miss saying that. What's up, everyone? Today's, I think, Thursday, right? There might be an echo, so I apologize for that. I'm doing it in a new place. This is my new apartment. First time I'm streaming from my new place. What's up? So, today we're going to be talking about Kickstarter, and it's going to be a really, Kickstarter is a big topic, all right? So, we're going to try to cover as much as we can. Myself and Joey, also known as Dex and Droughts, fantastic content creator. You've seen a couple of his things on Instagram, on YouTube. He's on everywhere. Maybe sometimes you see his name pop up on Discord. So we're going to be talking about Kickstarter. Some topics that you might hear about us talk, but it's not an exhaustive list. I do encourage and recommend y'all chatting in the chat. Send this out to your homies. We'll talk about how to, some tips on potentially finding some like red flags in Kickstarter. So what we assume are some red flags. Talk about how to we're gonna talk about the triad, and you're gonna actually maybe expand that triad, and maybe just the triad of collectors, investors, and players. We're gonna talk about that's gonna be really cool, and we're gonna talk about a whole bunch of games. We're gonna give your 2 cents, and we're gonna talk about like what creators can do, what the community can do, and what we can all do together. It's gonna be it's gonna be a fun chat. Honestly, it's gonna be informative, but it's not gonna be like a history lesson. We're gonna be talking a lot of smack. And just enjoy. Just sit back, relax, and you know how we do it. It's gonna be fun, casual. But like always, please suggest your questions. And yeah, apart from that, I mean that's basically that's all I got for you guys. Yeah. Hey, honestly, TCG box game. That's the first comment I'm seeing, and I apologize. I do wear glasses, so if I'm squinting, it's because I can't see. But honestly, one big red flag is that you're not marketing the game, and that could be for potential things. But I think marketing is really important because with the game, in a community where there's so many different variation of what game you can follow, like just looking at what I have here, right? We have Tasso Showdown, Primal, Vanquishers, MetaZoo, Dream Book, Cannabis. That's already like a handful of games. We have Gem Blenders, Nostalgics, Legions of Will, Tagverse. We have Back Alley Ninjas. There's so many games. You got to market yourself in one way, shape, or form. But I gotta tell you, marketing is not easy. Marketing is a really complex area of anything, honestly. Marketing is very important to anything you do. So you brand yourself. And it's really crucial on how you word things and how you say things and the times you say certain things and the times you withheld yourself from saying certain things. So it's important. I gotta say, like, one of the main things, I'll just start rambling until we get Joey from Dex and Droughts in here. One of the main things I gotta say for marketing is you gotta know your audience. That's the main thing. It's like if you're an author, you're writing a book on cooking, and then you're trying to sell it to someone who does camping. Like, it's not really like the same thing, right? You can say, apples and oranges, talk about fruits, but it's not necessarily the same thing. You really got to cater to your audience. And one thing that I'll elaborate much further into this conversation that I'll have today is that I honestly would just love to see some surveys about people asking about what intent, like just send a survey in Discord, Instagram, or something, and just asking like, what are your intentions in regarding to this game? Are you trying to invest in it? Are you trying to collect in it? Are you trying to play this game? What do you like to see? What don't you like to see? Maybe have like a free range of additional comments where I can just vent to you about what I want into the game. And like, you don't have to take it necessarily, but at least give me the option and the opportunity to just speak out. I think it minimizes the amount of ripple effects that it could potentially have rather than someone just venting in Discord. Someone can just vent in the additional comment section. And that one can be really beneficial to the team. Two, it minimizes all of these ripple effects. But I see Joey's ready. I'll let him hop on in, and then he'll give you a rundown of who he is, what he does, and awesome guy. Honestly, I talked to him a couple times. Talked to him today on the phone. Honestly, an awesome guy, and I'm really appreciative that he had the time to come on. So without further ado, okay, Joey, welcome. So hopefully the Wi-Fi is doing well. So let's see. Hey,
I feel real dumb because I don't know Instagram that well. So I'm like on the desktop, like where's the request button?
Oh, so yeah, honestly, for everyone, like, you're not the first one. Every time I have to do a live stream with someone, they're always like, how do we do this Instagram live stream? Like, I've never really done it. Usually everyone does YouTube or Twitch. So, hey, you did it.
Yeah.
You're here.
It's me being dumb. Sorry. See the whole plan. Also, pronunciation, sir. Dex and drafts.
Drafts. I'm sorry.
Drafts.
You told
just for that, I'm pouring right out.
Oh, okay.
You said you wanted like a family show. Too bad.
Hey, we're not advertising underage.
Jeff's on it. He already knows. He already knows.
That is so funny, man. That's awesome. What are you drinking? Is that like beer? Is that sour? What do you?
No, it's beer. Oh God.
Not sour. I like sour. I don't like beer that much. If I'm being honest.
That's fair.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're throwing it down. Hey,
That's a bad four.
I got water. I'm hydrating myself as well, so we do it
That's
differently.
fine. As usual, mine's like a bad four. Anyway, for those who are asking, who know me, India Pale Ale, this is Compass, since we're going to provide a little guidance. Yeah, there was overflow. I'm an idiot. Yeah, Compass from Bristol.
Man, people are really commenting on that pouring. Hey, you.
It was so bad. It was really bad. And I just kind of like went for it. Anyway, see, and even see here, boom, marketing. Come up with unique ways to put your stuff on stuff. How about that? Cheers, everybody.
Hey. welcome, man. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Likewise, thanks for having me.
Of course, dude. Tell us about yourself. Who's Dexon?
You got
Dexon
drafts is what it decks and drafts. Oh my gosh. By the way, I'm an everything guy outside of I don't do barley wine. Anyway, so yeah, I'm Joey, Decks and Drafts channel. I started about a year and a half ago. No clue what the hell I was going to do. So I started doing box openings. Realized, hey, it's kind of fun to talk about the industry itself. I've got about 15 years of experience in marketing, specifically working for a lot of Fortune 500 companies, American Airlines, Southwest, Marvel, Disney, eBay, PayPal. So I was like, hey, let's translate this to the card game world, because I've been playing that. I've been in it for about 30 years. I started playing Alpha Magic, which was actually introduced to me as part of a hobby day. Like, hey kids, you want to learn a new hobby? We made a card game. But I lived on the Bible Belt, so they saw Unholy Strength, and that was the end of that. So I had to throw it all away. I got in. I wish I were kidding. So I got into Star Wars. Hey oldies.
Oh, that's so cool.
Talk about well, this is a whole nother topic. But yeah, so we did that. So I've been doing a lot of marketing stuff. Decks and Drafts has actually been a channel that actually got me a job. Also, so I'm also do marketing for Genesis Battle of Champions, which is another card game off in the distance. But yeah, that's the journey that is me.
That's an insane journey that you have gone through. I would just say this: my story and my experience in the CCG community is, I started as a Pokemon account. Right, my main intentions were to just talk about Pokemon, resell some Pokemon that I had just laying around in April 2021. So I would say I probably have 1 year and a couple months into this community. So my experience is somewhat limited to some people. I do tend to be really active in these sort of things every day. So I try my best.
Yeah, I started last January, so I'm about a year and a couple months in. I'm not that far off.
Hey, dude, but I gotta say, that introduction just blew me away. I was like, dang, this guy said 15 years of marketing, 30 years of playing. He played Alpha Magic. That's a lot. That's crazy.
I wasn't good. I I had to leave it immediately, so I was not good at Alpha Magic at all. Other than that, I figure since we're going to talk marketing, I could start with a little credibility, which is going to be one of our topics. Credibility of not being a beer pourer, though. I'd have a terrible barking. So I'm gonna take 2 seconds, step away, and get something to clean this because, yeah. Hi everybody, I'll be back.
All right. Well, so hi everyone. I love seeing this cyber powered TCBG. Oh, also, boom! Shout out. Check this out. Full box. Boundless, TCG, I see you, AC Foss, Juno, man, Ted's Basement. I love seeing a lot of familiar faces. That's awesome.
Yeah, good to see you guys. I'm starting to learn a lot of you guys too, which is real cool.
Right?
Balance.
I like seeing new faces. I like seeing familiar faces. It's the best of both worlds. But generally, what Joey and myself want to talk about today is just Kickstarter. It's a very broad topic, and we're going to try to talk about what we think is important to talk about, and then also just advocate for whatever you think is important by either dropping a question. It's like a button that has a question mark on the bottom right of the screen, or just put in the comment and we'll try to read it and all that stuff. But honestly, I mean, what better way to start this conversation about Kickstarter than just trying to explain what Kickstarter is? So, Joey, do you think you can give us a quick rundown on what you think Kickstarter is, and then I'll give my rundown on what I think Kickstarter is?
Oh, crap. Okay. All right, I'll do my version. I saw the thing where all right, so I'll just do general Kickstarter because there's a lot of conversation right now about what Kickstarter is, and usually one of the things a lot of people say is that it's just a marketing tool, which is that's your first red flag, by the way, everybody. But really what it's trying to do is an opportunity for creators of anything, of many things, to find some sort of capital, find some sort of backing, and not just that, but find some sort of validity through the community, through crowdfunding. I've got a goofy idea. I'd love to get your thoughts on it. I'd love to back it up. I'd love for you guys to back it up and be a part of this journey. It is almost kind of like community investing, essentially. In the card game space, it's a whole different ball of wax, and there's a lot more to it, but that's essentially what it is. I think many of you creators would probably agree with, I would hope so, but that's my short version. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to let you go.
All right, so this is my interpretation of Kickstarter. I got to say, you ask someone to define one thing, it's always going to be different between the people. And I would just say, from my perspective, how I approach Kickstarter, right? I think Kickstarter, I mean, hate me, but don't hate me if you support me, but whatever. I think sometimes, and how I take it, is as an investment platform. I look at Kickstarter, I look at these TCGs. I come with the assumption that these TCG ideas and the people that do it already have some credibility. They already got a game, like kind of like starting because, they have a game, they probably like talked to some people, they did this and that. That's just my assumption. Is it the best assumption to always get into this? Probably not. It works sometimes, but it doesn't work all the time, right? Do your research, guys. But how
I like that, just like our normal talks, I come at it from the business side and you come at it from the customer side.
Exactly.
That's how this has gone every time.
Well, this is the best way I can do it. I mean, like, I don't really know how to like say it from rather than any other way than the consumer side, because that's just how I've been in this entire way. Like, yes, I make content, but at the end of the day, I'm still on these buy-sell trade chats trying to see if I can get this like really cool thing or not, or like offload some things and yada yada. But I take it as like an investment platform. But investment, it can mean a whole bunch of different things. I'm not trying to like define it by website, whatever you guys think, but investing in two ways. Investing that I could potentially make some money off of it if I want to resell it, but also investing in the idea that I could potentially want to play it. Yes, I started my career of like content creating just thinking, all right, I want to make a quick buck. I saw Medici do this. It should probably, it can probably happen again. But I got to say, through experience, just because one thing happened doesn't mean it's going to happen again. It could, but not necessarily. How I've learned throughout the time that I've been here is that honestly, like, I consider it now as an investment platform, but also as a way to, I just think it's still an investment platform. When people say it's not an investment platform, it's a little bit confusing, in my opinion. I invest in the creator's idea, and they invest in me by just being the supporter. So that's how I see it. I see it as an investment platform.
I can be on board with that. I mean, that's fine. That's what a lot of people do. If you get on board with something and it turns out to be awesome, then great. There's going to be questions on what the definition of investment is. Like that's probably where a lot of people might differ when they hear that, right? They might be like, oh, you say investment platform, and they're thinking like, are you the short flippers? Are you the ones who are going the long term? So, but that's a whole conversation for probably later. We'll get there.
Yeah. Well, okay. So just talking about investing, this is what I think. Investment in TCG is different than investing in stocks. It's different than investing in real estate. It's different than investing. I think it's like you can't really have one perfect answer for all those three. If that makes any sense, right? I think because when you're doing stocks, you're really just investing to flip it, right? That's literally, in my opinion, you're a venture capitalist. You're trying to make some green marks, and you're hoping that you don't get red marks, and you're just you can get a quick profit. Could change. And honestly, I just have to say this. If you come into the scene thinking one way about Kickstarter, thinking about one way about something, you don't necessarily have to tunnel vision yourself. You can definitely try to explore different avenues of what that is. If you want to be a collector, if you want to be an investor, you want to be a player, or if you want to be something else, it's totally fine. I feel like people can it's more of a fluid thing, right? Like you can just bounce, or are you bounded by it? What do you think?
Rephrase that with fewer words.
If you're into this community and your first intentions are, I want to make a quick buck and be a reseller, and that's all I want to do, can that same person say like, hey, I actually want to start collecting this game just to collect it in like 2 months, 3 months? Do you think it's fluid, or do you think you're kind of set in stone? Like, this is how you started, that's who you should be. I mean,
that mentality isn't set in stone. Your actions are what's set in stone. Like if I invest in a Kickstarter game and if I back a Kickstarter game, let's avoid the word investment. If I come into the attention of being able to flip that, one, I'm not an investor, but we're going to get into that. That's not what investing is.
Okay.
And two, like I can also be like, hey, I would like to collect this as things come out. Like I don't think those have to be exclusive. They don't. But again, that's all in your actions, right? Let's say you're a content creator, I like this Kickstarter. I would like to play this Kickstarter. But all of your content is, this Kickstarter is going to the moon. I don't care about your feelings about playing the Kickstarter. Your actions have said otherwise. You are guiding the audience in a different direction. Too bad. Like, I don't believe you when you say you want to buy it. And the flip side is also true. Like, hey, I'm going to do a ton of play videos, and then I'm just going to turn around and flip the product. Honestly, if that were the case, I'd actually think that you have less confidence in the product after it's been like released. But I mean, there's a lot to read into that. But yeah, no, there's no like you're set in stone with something. It's your actions that matter. Period.
That's a good way to put it, honestly. That is a good way. Well, this is something that I'll just say this. For those who know about this or for those who not, I'm gonna talk about the sketchy side of Kickstarter. Kickstarter is meant, you put your pledge, right? You accept the Kickstarter terms and conditions, all that jazz, right? I'll talk about those Kickstarter terms and conditions in a little bit. And you give that money to the creator, and you're expecting a product or reward at the end, all right? It's kind of like that. Recently, there's been some instances where that isn't necessarily the case, right? Name drop, whatever, Maelstrom, for example. We're expecting this product, and it doesn't turn out that way. And so that, it's hard. I would say, like, for someone who's, like, just trying to navigate this area, before you make any comment or anything on Discord or anything on Instagram or anything like that, all I gotta say is, and I really strongly advocate, is just try to educate yourself a little bit more than before. Before you say anything, ask yourself, am I more educated in the general area that's gonna receive this message? Because it's gonna be more valuable. Look at the terms and conditions. I'll say this. This is not financial advice or anything. Please do your own advice. But if you look at the terms and conditions, there's a contract between you and Kickstarter, and there's a contract between Kickstarter and the creator, and there's this tie between the creator and the person. So just do your job to see if your bank or if your thing if you're advocating that you want a refund for this potential scam or whatever it is, do research. Don't just go off what the next person said on Discord. Just do your own research. I feel like I went on a tangent, but I just want to just quickly say that.
Well, I mean, let's fix the verb problem that we have, right? Let's just do that. We have a verb problem of what the heck does investment mean?
Go for it.
Okay. Which some people can be, I'm in Kickstarter and I waited. So by the way, fun fact for everybody, putting money in something that you don't get what you expected out of it until later, that's not investing. That's not how that works. That's a big confusion. Okay. But kind of like you said, if you don't do research, if you're not, I want to back this thing, you don't kind of do any of your research to see if it matters, if it attaches to your values or anything like that, you're not investing. That's not investing. That's speculating. That's all you're doing. Anybody who's looking at a product that hasn't come out yet saying it's going to go to the moon and I've put in $50,000, that's not an investment. That's a speculation. That is what you have done if your expectation is I'm going to profit off of this. The end. That's not an investment. An investment appreciates elements of is this going to go with my values? Is there going to be some sort of long play? Is this going to be something that I want to put money in now because I want it to grow into something that is valuable later? It's the I want it to grow part that is missed right now. That's not what happens. I buy into a game and then I can flip it for immediate. I can flip it for 200% of whatever I paid for the second that I get it in my hand. I didn't help it grow. That didn't grow. That's not how that works. There is no growth there. You got exactly what you wanted and you were able to convince somebody else to pay more for it. That's not growth. That doesn't help the company at all. You have speculated and you speculated correctly. Good on you. If you're going to go out there, actually, I'm going to save the, where I was going to go. Like the triad thing. I'll save that for a little bit. But that's the issue. That's too many people are calling it investing. Some people are calling it collecting. It's not that either. That mentality in Kickstarter is completely backwards. That's not a thing that exists. Collecting for value is not a thing that exists. It doesn't. Okay. Definitely not in Kickstarter before a product comes out. That's called speculating.
That is true.
You're rolling the dice, and if you're a creator, you're convincing everybody else to roll the dice with you, or you're convincing them to buy the crap that you're about to dump. But anyway, I'll let you go. That's me whining.
No, that's not whining. I think we all have a fair share of stuff. And one thing I gotta say before anyone goes on one thing, I think it's important. that if you're in a situation where you have a strong opinion on one thing, to really try to talk to someone who doesn't have that opinion or might have slightly different opinion. As you guys can clearly see, I think it's one way, Joey might think it's another way, but just hearing the conversation, you understand that there's a reason why this other person thinks this way. I think getting that information and using it to whatever you think maybe it supports or doesn't support your stance is good. Just try to listen to both feedbacks. That's one thing I just want to say.
Well, let me add to it so that way it doesn't look like I just shoved you under a bus. That's where it goes back to.
Not at all. Not at all.
Well, that's where it goes back to actions, right? Your actions as a creator, like you even mentioned, like sometimes you get into it so that way you can, sometimes you want to flip the product, but your actions, your reputation is not one that is trying to get other people to buy that or try to convince that there's more value. So that's fine. I consider that even if you were to flip product, even if you were to do that, I would still say that you have a heck of a lot of integrity because of the way you put yourself out into the world. You're not trying to abuse that relationship. So that's fine. That's okay. So again, actions.
Well, something like this, I'll correlate to some data or just some data analysis, right? If you're doing something at small magnitudes, right? If I'm just doing a quick flip, one here, one there, that's okay, right? And that tends to be an outlier in most cases when you're, computing data. But if you're like manipulating the hype or you're pumping something to an extreme level, that tends to be the majority of the data. And data doesn't lie. If you're really like, this is something that I guess we talked about, but if you're really like extrapolating the actual value that the general population thinks of this product just because you're speculating it to be this one big thing at the end, I think it's bad on two sides, right? It's bad for the seller and it's also bad for the buyer. Bad for the buyer because maybe just lack of research or lack whatever, but also bad for the seller because it's like there's some intention behind that. You understand the risk of dumping a game, and it's like what you're saying your actions are like a crumb, like a trail of crumbs. Like you did it and you're still there. Like you really just have to like pay attention. Like if you see these games that go all hype up and you try, sometimes I gotta say this to the community. When you see someone really try to pump a game, ask them, whoever's pumping it, why they're doing that. Literally asking someone why is really important because then you start understanding why they're doing it. If they're doing it for just a monetary gain to flip it, I would say just try to stay a little bit back behind them because you might not, if you're trying to get some money out of it, you're trying to resell it, they're maybe just reselling for already the highest price and you're probably gonna get a loss of it. But if they're trying to like spread the awareness of the game or something like that, then I'm all for it. Go ahead and buy whatever you want and then maybe do whatever you want. But seriously,
I don't know if I can agree with that question.
What question?
Because I don't know if that question means anything. Of the why are you typing it?
Well,
I might go with why do you like it? Why do you think it's going to grow? Why do you think it's worth what you say it's worth? I'd like to hear that.
That is true.
Because if I'm saying that, because the issue that you have, especially with some of the flippers, is this game's going to go to the moon. Why do you think that? Or why are you pushing that? Because I want you guys to make money. And like if you're dumb, then you fall into that. The term is called greater fool. That's what it is. Right? It's a specific term that means that I'm going to buy. I'm going to get and buy an asset that is overvalued with the impression that I'm going to be able to pass that off to somebody at a higher value. And that's it. That's my whole model. It doesn't matter if there's any validity to that pricing. It's I think that I can take this $20 thing that's actually worth $5 and convince you to spend $50 on it because you're going to think it's worth $75. That's greater fool. That's the greater fool audience. And that's the to the moon problem.
That is, yeah. It's definitely certainly a problem because it's like one thing I gotta tell you guys. There comes to a point where it's not gonna get higher than that price, and you just have to learn to see the red flags and when you might think it's not gonna happen. I'll tell you this: whenever you see a product go from super little to super big, whenever there's already a big enough community, it's gonna be pretty hard to really validate that this product is worth some X amount of figures, more than like $5 or something like that. Really understand, really understand what it takes for you to this is something, I'm quoting Joey here, move the needle of why you think it's worth that price. Really ask yourself that question. Why do you think that card is particularly worth it? Is it because the card sucks? Is it because of the card's history? Is it the lore? Is it the design? Is it the foiling? if you really are having trouble to answer those questions, just like basic questions, the card looks really nice. The card stock feels great. It's gonna grade well. It's not gonna do. If you're really having trouble thinking that, and you're thinking that you're gonna be able to get this product and then flip it for even higher, trust me, the community is not dumb. Whoever tries to is not dumb.
They've learned. They've learned their lesson. So like the bumper sticker version of all that is appreciation does not. Let's see. Appreciation creates value. Value doesn't create appreciation. There's never been a game in the history of ever that is like where you can look at a history of it where just saying that it has value has created an appreciation for the product. You could argue some of the ones that have, you know, like your MetaZoos and whatnot that have kind of instantly go to the moon, but take a look at them now. That's never been a thing. Magic has value because it has been appreciated. Because it's been around for a while. There is a history. There's something to go there. Use flipping the boxes of this thing that is never going to get in a game store, that doesn't have a business plan. I was able to sell it for $400. Cool. The next guy has to wait for the history. The next guy has to be like, all right, this thing actually needs to be valid now because we've already hit that hype excitement peak, right? Now the thing actually needs to prove itself. If it doesn't, or especially if it wasn't set up for it, that's a problem.
It is.
That sucks for that guy, right? Sucks for the second one in line. Yeah. But yeah, appreciation creates value. It has never been the other way around, and if it has been short term, it's never lasted.
Okay, I agree with Dark Side there. I think the analysis that you're making is great. If anyone wants that bumper sticker, make sure you code Joey, right? Appreciation value. What was it? Say it again. I think I messed it up. You say it better.
Appreciation creates value. Value does not create appreciation. Me telling you that something is $200 is not going to get a whole bunch of people to jump in and say, I can't wait to get $200. Not a thing. And that's where we get into Kickstarter stuff. I think it's a good kind of segue into like, all right, let's talk that history. Let's talk things to look for, right?
Things to look for. Yeah, I mean, talk about some stuff. I sent you some screenshots of it, just like some thoughts that I have, like, you know, how to avoid.
Yeah, I got a list.
Talk about that. All right, cool. All right, so
yeah, I'll we jump in. Right now, it's a half hour of us whining about the To the Mooners, but we're not teaching anybody anything other than like, y'all suck. Stop. That's me saying that. Feel free to yell at my Instagram.
That's true.
Boom. This is Compass IPA, by the way. So for those of you who joined late, Compass IPA from Bristol Brewing. I'm also Dex and Drafts. For those of you who have no clue why I'm like gloating about my beer. That's why.
I love that.
So one of the things that I know we wanted to chat about is like if you're seeing this kind of stuff, you know, how do you prevent these kinds of scams? We've got a number of them now that are kind of flagged. You know, like you could have gone back in the history, looked at the updates, looked on. You could have picked apart a few things. The issue really is that there's not enough people asking the right questions, because it's either you don't want to touch the thing and you're not interested, or look at the shiny thing. There's no like, let's vet some of this, and that's kind of what we wanted to talk about a little bit as well. Of how do you kind of vet when you only have limited information? For me, I definitely want to share kind of what I look for and kind of like the end all be all, does this thing have a chance or not? But I'll let you, I don't know if you want to jump in. That was me going for bed. I can keep talking to you.
Well, exactly. This is just some things like, you know, some food for thought of like how sometimes Joey agrees with me. Sometimes Joey can add some more stuff and all that stuff of how to like really just, you know, the next Kickstarter, the next TCG that you just potentially are just a little bit hesitant about because of everything that's happening, you know, totally understandable. These are some things you just want to ask yourself, right? Just one of the main thing, right, is just knowing that look into the creator's integrity. Okay, and this is a broad topic. There's like some subtopics you want to look at in the creator's integrity. Why am I saying creator integrity? Because they're the first one that promotes the game, the creator of the game, right? Well, you got to look into that, right? You got to look into the history of honesty. You just have to like ask yourself, is there any reason not to trust what this person says, right? Because, you know, I'll just say this. This is something that I used to think was the only way of doing it, but after talking to Joey, man, I really appreciate the realization. Okay, experience is great. Experience is something that comes with time. Okay, you can also learn things as you go, right? It's not necessarily you have to be, you know, educated this way, one way. You have to be doing this one thing. It helps that you go to school or you take these classes to helping yourself with business strategy and all that stuff. However, you can learn that as you go, right? You can always get advisors, you can always get some mentors and all that stuff as you go. However, history doesn't lie. Data doesn't lie. If there's history of honesty, that's good. If there's history of dishonesty, that's a big red flag, right? That's just one thing I gotta tell.
I'm
Experience.
more interested in history than I am in the quality of your game that first go. I'm more interested in your vision and your ability to kind of adjust based on how, now that you've put it out into the world and are asking the world for money, I'm more interested in that. How can you handle that?
That is true.
Like one of the things I told you earlier is find me one game that is riddled in drama, where that drama has been very like majority centered on if the game is bad or not. That's not a thing you're going to find. You're going to find if you've got a game that is riddled in drama and it cannot get out of that, it's because of the integrity of the people behind it. Every single time. People are getting banned. People are doubling down on things that are bad. People aren't listening to feedback. People just straight up don't care. Half of them don't even play the game. But if you see that, that's if there's a history of just, I don't want to listen. This is what we're doing, and we don't like you, and we don't want to be transparent. Even not even transparent. Even clarify.
Ooh.
Even clarify. You're like, hey, I've got a question on kind of your vision with XYZ collectability. You can, and even if you say it like crap, even if you say it's like, I think your collectability model sucks, which people are going to do. All that is an invitation for creators to clarify the vision, show it out in the world. If they come back and you can be like, well, I think you suck, and then there's nothing more to that, then the game's dead in the water. Like that's it. You're done. If they clarify, like, hey, cool, that means you're willing to move, that means you're willing to adjust, and that goes back to if the game sucks, of like, hey, you put it out there, people try it. Chances are, if you're one of those people, you have it in TTS and you're excited to have people jump in anyway. But you're taking that and be like, all right, let's make this a better game. Let's make this a better game. If you make it a better game, you make it a better product. It's a better product that can go out there. It's a better product that actually can survive when you need to sell it to people en masse, not just Kickstarter. That's important. Like so you creators out there, all right, so all of you creators out there, you game creators, think about the world after Kickstarter. You don't have to have all the answers because it might be a little bit too far, but at least show that you appreciate the world after Kickstarter. Like, don't say that, like, I'm going to print 2,500 boxes, and then somebody's like, awesome, how are people going to get to play, and how are you going to expand beyond the Kickstarter? And then they just say, well, we're going to get in local game stores. No, you're not. No, you're not, by the way. That's not how that works. You got to have a little bit more to that answer.
Yeah.
Do competitive analysis. Get yourself out there. This is one of the reasons I'm going to name drop a little bit. This is one of the reasons that a lot of people have a lot of faith in Tanner for Cryptic, because he had a plan. And not only that, and I can say this from experience.
He goes into the lion's den. He's not afraid to. He goes into the lion's den. He goes to Gen Con. He goes to all these other conventions, specifically curating to these LGSs.
Yeah, I don't even think Gen Con's the lion's den, honestly. So I went to GAMA. GAMA, it's the Game Manufacturers Expo. This is not for people like you. This is for publishers, developers, local game stores. These are the people who are buying. I went there back in March, and Tanner, I'm sorry, Cryptic. Tanner's in there. He doesn't have a booth, but he's there, and he's talking to everybody he gets his hands on. That's the lion's den. And that's the lion's den because that's the group of people who are exploring hundreds of games and products, and they're making their purchases like in that moment. They're making their decisions to buy things in that moment. And he is in there saying, here's my vision. And he took all the feedback back and he turned all of that stuff. He was just like, that's the lion's den. That's actually like, I'm ready for this. I'm very excited to see what he does. Jeff, I know he was a little nervous when he quit his job. He went pretty long in that Kickstarter and that development process, still doing the firefight and stuff. So I'm excited to see what he does.
That's true.
But yeah, like have that vision, have the integrity, have the ability to kind of move, be okay, like being told, hey, I think you're wrong on this, and don't necessarily take it as, oh, you're attacking my game. No, they're not. They're not even paying attention to your game. They're looking at your vision, is what's happening. The more transparent you are, the better off you're going to be. The better off you're going to make, the more comfortable you're going to feel, so that way that Kickstarter, whatever you land, is not the last thing you do. Because who's going to back you on the second one? Especially if you have a reputation for being a jerk. What store is going to back you? If somebody says, like, I don't know, I don't quite see how this is going to grow in my community. Well, you suck as a store owner. Like, if that's, you know, and that's again, that's the kind of stuff, like, that's the kind of crap lashback that you would get from somebody who just doesn't want to try that hard, who's maybe latched onto the, you know, the collector community and stuff like that.
Joey, if I can just add two things, right? One,
yeah, I'm sorry.
No.
I could drink. I got time.
Exactly, right. I don't want you, you know, beer getting, you know.
This can't. It's an IPA. These should not warm up.
I gotta say this, right? I advocate to have your voice heard. However, keep it constructive. If you don't keep it constructive, I definitely think the creators or the team behind the game has a right to kind of, like, you know, tell you to calm down a little bit, or potentially if you have, like, you know, 3 strikes, maybe potentially ban you for some time, or for, you know, whatever it has to be, because there's a balance. There's constructive criticism. Constructive criticism is when you're clear and you're honest about it, and it's beneficial to you, right? And to the other person receiving it. Whenever it's only beneficial to one party, either the other person or to yourself, and it's not clear, it's not constructive. Once you're tipping that scale of, you know, not constructive, it's deconstructive, and that really damages a lot of stuff. Yeah. That's something I have to put out there. Whenever you want to put feedback and you see that some creator might just not respect the way you say it, it's just one. Let me say this. As just someone who just did a degree in psychology, this is one thing I can tell you. Not everyone thinks the same way. All right, you might just have to rephrase yourself to be more clear. Don't back off or don't shy away from the first time someone says they don't understand what you're saying. Try it again and try it again. And that's all you got to do. Try it a different way. But after, you know, the third time, I feel like that's just a different story. But just try to be more clear. If you're literally providing beneficial feedback, it's great. But that's just in the consumer side. For the creator side, I got to say, be more welcoming to this kind of criticism. Something that I talked about a couple of times before is that, how are you going to be the best or just become better if you're not necessarily listening to the people that are hating on your game or thinking your game is bad? They're the ones that are literally actively trying to find everything bad and nitpicking everything bad about your game. Sometimes I got to say it's deconstructive, but sometimes you can get good feedback out of that. So just be welcome to hear the good and the bad. But
yeah, I don't think that, I mean, honestly, kind of almost embrace it. Naturally, even if it's kind of like worded poorly, because not everybody's great at that, but like, it's an opportunity for you to kind of sell yourself a bit more, like sell your idea. Like, if you get feedback of like, this thing sucks and it doesn't, and all that is like, maybe I didn't share all the details, like, you should be jazzed about those details, because you spend a lot, I would hope, right? But hope you spend a lot of time on kind of those details, like, oh, we've got this vision, like, oh, I don't like the world that you created. Oh, well, let me tell you a little bit more about the world. Or I don't like that if you're focusing on XYZ character. It's like, oh, let me tell you a little bit more about, like, embrace that. But on the flip side of that, because you brought it up as far as constructive feedback, this is for creators and the rest, customers, fans, whoever. The other thing is also to appreciate, you create a reputation with the way that you talk and how you respond. That's something that I think a lot of people miss. And that goes both directions. And there's a point where it's no matter if you're right or wrong, if you have a reputation that is more aggressive and more attacking and more like, I'm just going to call out the garbage, it kind of doesn't matter after a while. Like, if all you've been doing, and this has been, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead. We'll do this. It's not gonna be weird. Flesh and Blood recently had a controversy around this, where there was a store owner who was there from the very beginning, and he was very well known. He was arguably one of the main reasons that Flesh and Blood had made itself in America the way that it did. He was such a huge advocate. And then there was a long stretch of time where he wasn't, where it was, you know, a little bit aggressive, like everything is wrong. There wasn't a lot of excitement and enjoyment. It was just wrong for like months. And then finally he starts providing feedback that is kind of spot on, in my opinion. But he has already created that reputation of wrong. that needle of aggression, that needle of like, how much are you really looking out and really caring is like way over in the, are you really trying to grow this game side? Like, do you really care about this game side? And now he's like starting to say stuff that if it were neutral, it'd be like, that makes a lot of sense. And then finally, and when you're over here and you say something right, like maybe it tips this way, but everyone's still like, you were wrong. You've been wrong this whole time. I don't care what you have to say anymore. I don't care how close or right or whatever. You build a reputation. As a fan, that's the kind of thing that happens. Appreciate the good with the bad. As a creator, as a game creator, you get a benefit from this. If you create a reputation of listening to feedback and being transparent and all of that, you suddenly get backed by your community. If somebody comes up with something and says, I don't like this thing, and they're real aggressive about it, you're not on your own if you have a reputation as a creator of being open about your vision and your plans. Your fans are going to be like, it's clear that he's thought things through. It's clear you have a different opinion, but he's built the reputation of having thought things through. Let's see what he's got. Let's see the vision. Let's go. And then they're going to back you. That community is going to guide you. It's not all on you if you engage with that community. They become advocates and champions and defenders if they need to be.
That's true.
And that's so important. I think that's led to a lot of like the communication, the conversation issues that people have had lately of like, I'm going to double down because I feel like I'm alone. Well, you're alone because you push everyone away every single time you get any ounce of feedback. You are, in fact, alone. It's just going to get worse for you.
That's true. One thing I want to add.
There's so many comments that like are like sentences, and I'm gonna be looking up because I'm looking at the chat. So you go, I'm gonna read.
I gotta say this. This is something I want to bring up just because I saw something about KS and Subing talking about people that just try to just bring out the bad in a game or just something like this. One thing I gotta just say, particularly just as just my experience, is that sometimes I just want to vent. And honestly, I gotta tell you, the easiest thing and the easiest place to vent is just Discord. Is it necessarily the best place to vent? Not quite, not all the time, right? Because sometimes it can get really taken out of context because I'll tell you this, guys. If you haven't figured this out yet, I'll tell you right now. Not everything gets a reaction, but I'm telling you, like, you'll get 10 reactions, but you'll get 1,000 views. A lot more people are going to view something than react to it. I'll just tell you that. It's as simple as that. So I just got to say this, and this is going, kind of going back on the circle about, surveys and all that stuff. One way for creators, this is just an idea that I think. One way that you can probably mitigate the amount of people that are just venting in your Discord or just trying to rip the game apart is to put out surveys to let these people vet in those surveys, because it's just, bypassing the community and it's going direct between one person to the creator. And that's honestly a better line than indirect.
Yeah. You're going to find that people are actually serious about taking the time to give you that negative feedback, as opposed to, hey guys, I'm in your Discord, but I don't pay attention to it. I had something I wanted to complain about, so I'm going to complain about it and then I'm going to go. You suck. Like, stop.
Because if you do it on Discord, it leaves this crumb of other people to just feed off and follow. Because if I say that, that's bad. But I'll tell you, that same person most likely just wants to get it off their chest. And if they can go through a survey, that's honestly the easiest thing. And you can make it anonymous. You don't have to make it anonymous. You can do whatever you want, right? Just do that. And then honestly, for anyone who potentially wants to think about a survey, I'll tell you this. You're doing yourself damage if you're only taking qualitative data and only quantitative data. Qualitative and quantitative, right? So you're either doing like 1, 2, 3,
You got that.
4, or
I'm the one drinking. You're the one struggling with words.
Yeah, so I'll say this. One of those is A, B, C, or D, or the other one is fill in your own words and put it in there. I think taking a little bit of both of those is really valuable, because one is easy to make visual representations of what you can find, make data graphs and all that really easily. And the other really gives you the detail of why someone thinks that way. But ask important questions. Ask like, this is something that I gotta tell everyone. Please think about this every single time you look at a TCG. What is your intentions with that TCG, and what is that TCG's intentions with you? Once you start with that question, try to go to another step, all right? Ask yourself why you think that is, right? Do you have any evidence that supports your claim? And then also ask other people too. You gotta just honestly start opening up that conversation and really dive into deeper, rather than just, to the moon, this Kickstarter is gonna do really well, this gameplay is like unbelievable, it's crazy, or there's other crazy stuff. Just literally ask yourself deeper questions. Ask yourself why and all that stuff.
Yeah. And also make sure to pay attention. If you're really interested, vet with actions. I'm going to go ahead. You mind if I get myself in trouble here? I'm going to get myself in trouble here.
Dude, I don't
know.
Is that okay? Everything's
let's have some real fun.
Go for it.
I'm not gonna name drop anything bad. I'm actually gonna name drop something good, but it's still gonna be real interesting. So as you were mentioning, vet, ask questions. I'm gonna add look at actions. Look at what people actually do in response. A lot of the Kickstarter, there's a decent amount of the Kickstarter concerns lately of kind of capitalizing on the MetaZoo model. MetaZoo gets real popular, comes out, selling is $8,000-$9,000, a box, a Kickstarter box, and now it's in that kind of perpetual hype train of sorts of, it's value, cool, new.
Yep.
And you see a lot of Kickstarters out there that try to capitalize on that model by like, hey, we've got this serialized thing, we've got this, this super rare thing, be a part of the Kickstarter, and you're going to get to enjoy the same thing that you watched MetaZoo do. And we're seeing that starting to actually turn against people. Hey, creators. Hey, game creators. You guys want to have some real fun? Because a lot of people are copying MetaZoo, except you're not. You want to know one of the, and this is my personal opinion as somebody, again, I told you my 15-year and all this marketing stuff history at the beginning for some credibility in this. You want to see a really incredible example of a Kickstarter campaign written right, written correctly, written in something that I feel that there's a long-term vision. It respects the audience. It respects its product and the game. It's showing you what it wants to do. Go look at the original MetaZoo Kickstarter. The Cryptid Nation Kickstarter is a masterclass in showing people a good, cool vision for a game and getting people excited about what the game is trying to do. Regardless of how you feel about the gameplay and whatnot, like those are the types of things. If the action met that Kickstarter, I'd give MetaZoo time to kind of work out some of the issues that people had with gameplay. I would have no problem with it. It just didn't have that time because the game just went away. But like they talk about stretch goals. They talk about like pins would be neat. Stickers would be great. They don't say anything about a limited number, no one of 250, none of that stuff. They show the cards on it. They show some of the examples of the fourth wall. They even have a tier that says, hey, if you're not ready to spend hundreds of dollars on us, like here's like a $30 thing for a Kickstarter. Try it out. It is dang near perfect, in my opinion. And it didn't do that well, by the way. It only got 18 grand, the original MetaZoo Kickstarter. I think it was 18. I'm on the page. I can't tell.
It wasn't that much. It was really small. For sure.
It was not a lot. I think they asked for like 18,000. They asked for 10. So yeah, it wasn't like you thought it was To the Moon. To the Moon didn't exist then. And I don't like it. That could be a whole nother conversation of how exactly that happened. But no matter what you end up saying, the actions didn't match what you saw. And that's kind of sucked. I think that actually happened a little bit later. That gets a little maybe conspiracy theory type of stuff. But now we've learned, right? Now we've all learned. Now we're not seeing anything that does that. But if you creators really want a masterclass, go look at the original MetaZoo Cryptid Nation. It is gold. It is wonderful. Even the updates are phenomenal. I don't know what the hell happened. That's for somebody else, another video. But that's the kind of stuff that would make me back that. I would, even if the slate were wiped today and I saw that Kickstarter, I would back it. I'd back it in a heartbeat. If To the Moon didn't exist, if all that didn't exist, I would love it.
It's a good idea.
I didn't know that.
For anyone who wants to take a little quick history dive, just reading it, like honestly, consider like just put yourself in the position where there wasn't that cryptid like game. You honestly look at that and you're like, wow, when I read it, this is a realization I had. I was like, wow, I can't believe this hasn't been done yet. This is like such an avenue that's like honestly really nice, really cool. A lot of people can relate to it, right?
Yeah,
so
it was neat. It was fun, and it was like get excited about the thing I want to do. What sets MetaZoo apart is its core mechanic of breaking the fourth wall. From a gameplay, that means the strength of your BCs are impacted by the environment. Playing on a rainy day, your water BCs and spells get a boost. Playing near an open fire while trying to keep warm as it snows outside, your flame spells are now twice as powerful. Are you kidding me? That sounds so fun. I am all in for that.
That's true.
Oh, it's go do that, everybody.
One thing that Joey and I talked about, but we haven't brought up is, well, this is my analogy, and I'll try to take it into the TCG in a second. If I'm trying to sell, let's say like I'm this, I make computer chips, right, or I make computers, right, or laptops, whatever, and I go to this Best Buy, and I'm like, yo, I want to put my computer into your store. but my computer is super limited. Not a lot of people can get it. Do you want to get it so you can be the only store to do it? They're gonna ask you what's in that what's in that computer that differentiates it from everything. Perfect example. Just because something has a low pop doesn't necessarily mean it's quality, right? That's just how I see it. If you have the box, perfect example. I'll let you say this, Joe, because I'm not gonna take your words. Because if you want to bring up that situation that we had, talked about, it happened in the past, big realization, national news, but you can't say, oh, this box is really limited, you should buy the box. You should really advocate that, okay, I just could, I didn't want to make this box super grand because I knew the audience that I was curating to. First of all, you got to know your audience. You got to know who's really buying it. If you're a TCG that normally gets, for example, I'm just throwing out a number, 200 people talking to you, try to curate for 30% of that market, because not everyone's going to buy your game. Sometimes people just want to talk in that chat or whatever. But advocate for what's inside the product. Advocate why you should really dig into this game and just buy more and really rip it and all this other stuff. But
yeah, if you can't say something other than it's going to be hype, everyone's going to love it. If you can't actually show how it fits in the space that it exists in, then you've lost. If all you cared about is it's going to win, it's going to win the TCG game. How? Because it is.
Because it's low pop.
Because it's a tiny thing.
That's a red flag.
Go look at eBay right now. Go look at secondary market sales. Is the game out? Has somebody tried it? Does it matter? This thing sold for $500. Okay, it matters, because the guy who bought it for $500 is going to have to somehow sell that.
Yeah.
Oh, can I? Oh, can I? I'm going to jump in. Can I jump in on something? I'm going to jump in the chat. Hey, chat.
Go for it.
More stuff. Because Mezzi was one of the best elevator pitches of all time. Elevator pitch. Hey, practice your elevator pitch. Bam. I know you're triggered by this. Same with you, Gem Blenders, if you're watching, because I made you do a 1-minute pitch when you did my interviews. And that's that. I get real good at that. There we go. Gem Blenders and it's Gem Blenders and bam.
Ooh.
Get good at the 1-minute pitch. Get good at being able to. You're at a convention. You're at Collecticon. People are there's a line to whatever the Charizard thing. I don't understand Collecticon. Whatever the heck is going on over there. There's a line. I guess I'm stuck here. I'm cool. You got a minute? 1 minute. All I need is 1 minute. Get real good at it. But then you got to do it with local game store. Then you got to do it with who's gonna buy the boxes in bulk when you actually get to produce. Get good at that elevator pitch. And if you really want to do it, get good at the 1-minute talk where you don't have something in front of you, and get good at the 1-minute demo. So you got 2 minutes. Get good at the 1-minute demo to show just the core stuff and how it's going to be real interesting. You do that, you're gold. You're solid. You'll be fine.
So Joey, let me tell you, put yourself in the perspective that you're the LGS and I'm bringing to your product. What's something that you want to hear that would definitely be okay, this is something that I should at least investigate further than just be hey, I don't really have space in my store because it's all cluttered. I'll have to pass. What's that one thing or, a couple of things that you might be looking for if, put yourself in that position? Yep.
Before I get you crazy, I'm going to answer that. Ted, I do see your question as well, so I'm going to get to that of not doing Kickstarter anymore. I actually have a thought about that, but that's for in a sec. And I just forgot the other thing. Oh, what are you telling? What does an LGS want to hear? Okay. So something I learned at Gamma. So this is wild. So I was just starting with Genesis. I was a month in, but I was real big into Flesh and Blood. The community is used to game. Oh, how are you going to beat Magic? That was what I was worried about talking to game stores. How are you going to be the next Magic? And I thought going into a bunch of stores and whatnot, that was going to be the question I got. No. LGS just doesn't like the card game model. Saying that we were a card game was a problem. There's a couple reasons why. One, if you want to tell me something, show me how you're going to get product churn. Show me that. Show me how I'm going to be able to buy product and then sell it again. Don't tell me that it's going to be the people who go to the moon, right? That's not going to be a thing. People are going to buy it for the moon. Show me how it's actually going to churn over time. How it's going to keep going. That's what I want to know. I want to know that is how are you going to support me? How are you going to help me grow this? Because I don't want to get on this hey, I bought this because my community told me they were $500, and I know I'm forced to sell them at MSRP, but I bought it for them. Yay, congrats. You're making 40, 50 bucks a box. That doesn't get too far, especially if your allocation's like 6 boxes. Woo, $300. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to give 2 craps about that. Show me how I can buy more and more and more and more and get people in. Show me organized play. Show me how you're going to get people excited to come in every week and do that. And do that over and over. Show me that plan. And then an LGS is going to care. They're not going to, it's not going to sit on the shelf. Like, I hate to bring it up, but feel free to look at MetaZoo. But look at any other company that, like, there's just no plan outside of it. Think of it. You don't have to have it set in stone by the time you do your Kickstarter yet, by the way, guys, but at least think about it. At least have sort of a plan, because no store's going to buy it, and they're going to be the ones you need. They're going to be the ones that you need. That's going to be a good transition into the triad. But if you want to add something, and then I really want to answer Ted's question.
Hey, you can go ahead with the triad, and you can go ahead with the question. We're at 9:25, buddy. You feel free to ask.
I feel like I can just keep going.
That's what I'm thinking, because I'm like looking at our notes, and I'm like, damn, we have so much more that we got to cover grounds for. But yeah,
like we didn't even touch the list. All right, so Ted. That's question. What do you think about games not doing Kickstarter anymore? Build a community organically, sell directly to the community, and grow naturally. I'm going to go with sort of. I like the idea. If you do that, that's something that you can really prove. And that's going to be something that needs to be in your Kickstarter. Like being able to say, hey, this is a Kickstarter that we're doing. We have this idea for a game. And look at us be in stores. Which that's not a thing you see a lot, by the way. Like, hey, here's some pictures of us actually playing in a store with a store owner that's already been like, I like what you're doing. I get that you're small, but I want to even support that. That'd be real cool to see. That's not a thing that you see too often. I was thinking about this because I saw a couple. And Boundless, if you're still here, and Gem Blenders, you two are going to get a little props on this one. I kind of like the idea. I'm much more interested in backing a Kickstarter the second time. Like if I just happen to see it, if the first time was purely to develop a proof of concept. That's what Gem and Boundless clearly did. Gem Blenders, they knew they were not going to go viral. They didn't have even the capacity to go worldwide anyway. He asked for a couple $1,000 so he can print some starter decks. He can print these things. And then he went into New York. And it's just, I'm going to grow this. And I'm going to prove the model works. He did. He's used some of it for marketing and whatnot. And now he's playing on another one then. And if he leverages we did an initial Kickstarter just to prove that this works. Here's how we proved it. Oh man, I'm in. Boundless, kind of the same thing. We don't want to put 2, 3, 4, 5 sets. We want a little bit of money so we can build some starter decks. And I almost feel like it's like, yeah, and we'll see you next time. We're not ready, but we want to prove the concept. Let's prove the concept real quick. And then we're going to come at you with something that's awesome, that's proven. And then that's when you can have that local game store $2,000 tier of like, hey, yeah, here's 2 cases for $2,000 or something. But we've proven to you that it works. Here's the stores we're in. Here are the pictures. Here's all of that stuff. Oh man. Yeah. Walk before you run. I hope that's the model. I hope that kind of is something that starts to happen. You get these games that just do a little bit. See, there we go, Boundless. You're ready for it. October 2022. You've already done one to get it going.
Proof the concept.
Now you get to come back and you get to lean in on that like credibility. And also it's a credibility thing. I don't think you're just trying to get money because you put in the work. You put in the work a little bit.
Does a Kickstarter, this is a question that I had in my story, and this is something I've been thinking about, does a Kickstarter necessarily have to be perfected before it's pushed and delivered? Or is it okay to just have some mistakes, intentionally or not intentionally, and embrace it and see how the community reacts to it? What's your thought on that? Less hype, more proof, Ted. That's a great thing.
You know what? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say, I was thinking maybe there's a waiver. I'm going to say it's a flat no. But that also puts it on you, the creator, to not try to set yourself up for that.
That's true.
Like if you're a creator that is coming in and it's like, hey, we get this might not be perfect right out the gate, like the game might not, or the art might not, or any of those things, but you come in and say, we're the greatest thing ever, look at us go, 101, all that stuff. and those are the actions you take as a creator of look at all the value. You have to be 100% perfect. You don't get the room to wiggle. But also, you've also kind of forgot the whole point of Kickstarter and kickstarting something. Kickstart doesn't mean I'm done.
It's pushing it forward.
Kickstart simply means, I could use a little bit. I got a vision. I got an idea. I want to see if you get on board with it. I could use a little help, and I'm going to give you something for that. And then eventually it might be like, hey, we vetted this a heck of a lot more. It's like, all right, so you project managers like an agile model. Agile model of project management. You do in little spurts, you perfect the little spurt, and then you move on. Like, what are the problems here? I got a couple ideas. These don't work, these do. Get that done, move to the next thing, move to the next, move to the next thing. I'd love to see that. I think I would have a lot more faith in those Kickstarters that was like, we have a vision, but we know that it might not be the best of the best. We're not going to try to pretend that it's going to be. We're going to do a little thing. We'll see in a little bit. If you're really passionate, no Kickstarter is getting you out of your day job anyway.
Dude.
They're not.
Please, literally, I gotta tell you guys that. Yeah, Kickstarter, before you pay your checks, deliver the product. If not, you're burning your own game at that point. My 2 cents on that conversation is I think a Kickstarter shouldn't necessarily be perfected. Why? Is because sometimes things that you potentially think is perfect could maybe damage the game. If you perfect something so much, it really pushes away other people that are like, hey, I kind of want to reach out. But like, I see Kickstarter looks almost identical to first edition. So I feel like this is already the thing you want to go with. I'm gonna put my 2 cents away, and you might not hear those 2 cents, and that honestly feedback could be potentially better than what you think. Just listen to, other people. I'd say like if you put yourself in a situation where you need help, such as, just ask for help. Like literally ask for help. If you want to grow, you gotta literally advocate for people to reach out and give you some mentorship. Not everyone's you don't know everything starting off the bat. You gotta experience things. How do you experience things? Not by perfecting everything, by literally falling back, but then getting up from that fall back. If you fall back and you stay on the floor, hey, that's all on you. I can't really tell you. But if you fall back and you pick yourself up and you learn why you fell back and how you can navigate more, 1 step backwards, 2 steps forward, that's in my opinion way better than just 1 step forward, 1 step forward, 1 step forward, 1 step forward. Because then I don't know. It doesn't really leave that much room for,
There's no matter how polished you think your game is, it doesn't mean anything on the other side of the coin. It doesn't mean anything to the local game stores. Local game stores don't care how good your game is. Some of them do, and like the ones who do it for passion, but they don't. You can tell them that this is the best game in the world. If you have no clue, though, how to like grow that and how to show that, it doesn't matter how good it is. It really doesn't. Sorry, the wife just called. What? I'm gonna go off for a second. You want to invite people in? I'm gonna go off for just a sec. I'll be right back in.
That is true. Hey, so perfect time. Okay. So what Julie and I wanted to do for the next 20, 30-ish minutes. All right. So he left. So the next 20 and 30-ish minutes is just invite other people to just give your 2 cents of something that we talked about, something that we haven't talked about, or just talk about whatever you want to freely, try to be respectful and everything like that. But yeah, all that. Ted, I see that you requested to join in. If you still want to request, just give me a thumbs up. I mean, if you still want to hop on, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, that's okay. But I'm just saying, if you want to speak up in this chat, definitely feel like in the live stream, feel free. Like, I only know certain things, but that's what I gotta say. Honestly, I don't think you're down. Oh, perfect. There you go. I was gonna chit chat, but all right, Ted, the famous content creator on Instagram. Like, I think you got a TikTok too, and on YouTube, Ted's Basement. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Proud to have you on, buddy. Oh, Ted declined. Oh no. All right, yeah, I did. Okay, so Dexon, I see you there. Ted, if you want, request it again. If anyone else wants to hop on as well, request as well.
Sorry, I'm back to like the wife called. She's like, I lost my debit card. I'm like, I don't know what I can do from like home. Okay, so but when the wife calls,
you gotta go.
Yeah, you gotta go.
You gotta go. Well, I'm inviting Ted's Basement. He has some stuff to say, so let's just hear him out.
Yeah. So, do I like get booted? I don't know how this works. Oh, maybe on the side. That's cute. I'm so bad at Instagram.
What's up? This is my first Instagram live.
Really? Well, welcome.
I,
Welcome
I
to
didn't even know how to accept it. That's why I declined it by accident.
I
I
think
was
it's
like,
quite
wait, he just said that he wanted to be on it. Why did he just decline the request? I was like, all right, whatever.
Because I don't know what I'm doing on Instagram.
Hey, it's part of the experience. It's part of the journey. So welcome, Ted. It's a pleasure to have you on. I love your content.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Yeah, the only like my primary platform is YouTube. I think you listed out a couple platforms. I don't really like. I kind of just mess around with the other ones. I just pretty much do YouTube.
That's true. But check him out. Ted's Basement.
my idiot was like, I'm going to be on desktop, thinking that I can get on live. So I feel you, Ted.
You know
We're
what? My
oldies.
desktop is behind me, and I just grabbed my phone because I actually figured I wasn't gonna. I didn't know how to do it, so I figured my phone is probably the best.
Yeah.
So,
It's the best.
this is a really intriguing conversation. You've kept my attention the whole time.
Yes.
And it really had me thinking. I know you just had answered it, but it really had me thinking about why are people using Kickstarter now? Okay, so we talked about MetaZoo was really one of the original, the 18,000 that they got for Kickstarter. That wasn't even enough to start it. Like, people are going to Kickstarter now because they think they're following in the footsteps of something. I'm wondering if this isn't the model anymore. Right? It's sort of like, do your own thing. You're your own game. You're your own company. There's no reason you can't come up with your own model. So if and I'm not a game creator, I don't desire to be, but if I was a game creator, I kind of feel like, why wouldn't I, okay, do the Discord, do the Instagram, start building the community organically, send out some cards, let people see your stuff, and see if there's some bites, right? And if there are, maybe you do a little bit of pre-ordering, right? Like, I don't know if it's 10 decks, I don't know if it's 50, and see if you get enough pre-orders to fund your printing, and then print it, and then ship it, and then see what the community thinks, get some feedback, make some changes. Maybe you do another run. Maybe it's just a deck. Maybe it's not a booster, but maybe it's whatever.
Yeah.
And just,
You're creating
this
a proof
is
of concept.
organic. Yeah,
It's a
this
proof of
is
concept.
organic. Because here's where I'm coming from. Not TCG company, just any company. Any business with any product has the problem of coming to market, starting to acquire market share, getting feedback from the customer, and most small businesses fail, right? So how do you overcome these things? I feel like we're stuck in this rut of TCG companies. Guys, these are just companies. These are just products.
I call it the TCG temper tantrum. That's what I call like the last year and a half is the TCG temper tantrum era.
I'm just saying, why aren't we thinking about these TCG companies like any other company? Why is this so special? Why is this a thing? Like, why is everybody following everyone in front of them, the 100 people in front of them to Kickstarter? Just figure out how to build your business, try things, be agile, adapt, learn, apologize if need be, make your fixes, and move the hell on. And if you have the will and the resources to continue, then your company will exist tomorrow. I just wanted to share some stuff, guys.
Yeah, I think that hits a really good thing. I'm gonna go back to MetaZoo on it, but I'm gonna take away like the money part because MetaZoo was a Kickstarter. Was a Kickstarter. Like, it wasn't a thing a lot of people thought too much about. And it's not that it like, however it blew up, it still blew up. It still found its way into a semi-mainstream thing. And I think that was enough of a spark of like, I can do this too. I think the other thing though, we got to respect it. When did this really start? Kind of around COVID. If you're stuck at home, I'm not exactly blaming everybody, but like maybe you were a little bored. Like a lot of rich people were bored. That's what allowed a lot of things to go to the moon all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You bring up a good point because some of these games, I actually don't think they want to become huge. Some of these games actually just want to have fun and make a game and have a little community. And not enough people are asking them. If you notice, I started asking them in my last expo, what is your intention for your game? And the fans need to hear that because what if somebody says, hey, listen, guys, I'm just trying to make this like fun little thing here. Well, if that's the creator saying that, as a fan, you probably shouldn't get the idea in your head that this is investable for you. the creator doesn't even think it's investable. So just not every game out there wants to be a MetaZoo, wants to be a Pokemon or a Magic. It's just something to consider.
Yeah, Alejandro, you were saying it when we were talking earlier about, like, don't live in isolation. If you're living in isolation,
Right.
if you're thinking you're going to be the top of the charts, and you're going to take over the whole thing, stop. Because then everything is like too far on the hook. Everything, every little thing becomes a big thing. And yeah, sometimes you just want to have fun with the game. That's fine. I love it. Yeah, do that. And maybe
Mysteries,
maybe
Yeah.
Ted, maybe that's a little.
Old saying, I see. Old saying. Everyone got a TCG.
Maybe
sorry.
that.
I gotta say,
Here's what I don't know. I can't do a market analysis of this one because I haven't seen it yet. But maybe that's something you do. Like, what do you want to do with this? I didn't really see any TCGs that are talking about. I just kind of want to build a fun kind of online community, small. I don't know how you might tackle that conversation of I'm not trying to be the next Magic or the next Manazoo.
I think a few. I have to rewatch. I have to rewatch my own expo because I don't remember which said it, but I'm pretty sure a handful of games actually responded that way in the expo. Some said we want to go as big as we could go. Some said that's not really our goal right now. Some said, hey, look, if it happens, great, but we just want to do something fun. So really, we got to really listen to the mission. I almost want to start asking games, what is your mission?
Yep.
Ted, I think you're gonna know this. Alejandro, I think you're gonna be way off. And anybody who understands this reference, I gotta know in chat. I gotta know this in chat. We're gonna go. Okay. I'm gonna go old school commercials. You remember? Snapple? The drink. Remember? Yeah. This was like I want to say decade and a half ago. Snapple had a weird. The campaign was called We're Number 2. Their whole thing was like, we're Snapple. We're a great drink. We do all this stuff, but we know we've got nothing on Coke and Pepsi. We got if you're a soda, we know we got nothing. We want to be your number 2. Like a year campaign. We're number 2. We're number 2. Oh,
how did it work? I mean, I don't remember the campaign, but how did it work? Like, was it successful in your opinion?
At the time, it was very successful.
Okay, got people's attention.
They weren't trying to oversell themselves.
Yeah.
And what that does, I want to shift this just because I know I got like the light from up there. What that does when you say we're number 2, when you're trying to not basically be number 1, is it stops becoming a comparison problem.
Yep.
So creators, you're teaching a game. Actually, I'm going to use a creator. If you're a player fan, one of the things I did when I was showing a lot of people Flesh and Blood is I was telling them, don't say it's the Magic Killer. Don't say it's Magic Killer, Pokemon Killer, Yu-Gi-Oh! Don't say that it's the next this thing, because what happens is you're going to get that group who were a part of that thing, and they're no longer interested in what is just the fun of what I'm having. They're not interested in just the general, how do I like this? But now you've forced them to compare. Now it's not, I like this game for these things. It's, I don't like the resourcing system. Magic is better. If you're saying you want to be Magic, now you've got to beat my standards of Magic and my appreciation. And that's what Snapple was able to do with We're Number 2. They didn't have to say, as like, we're that fizzy drink, holy crap. They couldn't do that. What they could do is say, here's where we shine. If that's cool with you, I'm not trying to say that's better than these other things. But if you're really in the mood for that, we're your number 2. If you're not feeling soda, we're Snapple.
Why not spend the effort telling people what makes your game unique rather than comparing yourself to anything else?
Exactly.
That's a good way to put it too, because it's like, because like honestly, like I'll say this, and this is how I take it. This is just my 2 cents. If I hear that this game is coming up, it's any TCG game that has to deal with this play testing and all this other crap that they have to deal with. And they're like, oh, but I'm going to be like, Magic and we share a lot of similarities. You should like me because I like Magic. I'll start to tell you this. I'm just going to hop on Magic because that has already a community that's established. It has a whole bunch of sets I can dive into and also a whole bunch of stuff. Don't compare yourself. Definitely take some inspiration and maybe do some stuff like, similar and or all that stuff. But seriously, the comparison, I agree with Joey and Ted. Comparison can really bring your game down. Just you don't necessarily have to recreate the wheel, all right?
I was wrong. I'm sorry, I was wrong. I was a little wrong. They wanted to be number 3. Behind 1 was Coke, 2 was Pepsi. They wanted to be number 3. Anyway, sorry.
Nice.
But honestly, like, okay, know your audience. That's like one of the biggest things. And you got to know your audience, and just know that, you know, your audience over time could grow. That doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna keep growing. It could definitely dip, and you're
Yeah,
gonna.
you need the things to do that. Like if you don't have a plan for it.
You know, I want to call out Too Fluent made a great point. I just want to play some fun games. And you know what? Sometimes, guys, and I'm guilty of it too, get caught up in the hype, the drama, the whatever you want to call it that comes with the TCG Renaissance that really kind of took us all by surprise. At least it took me by surprise. At the end of the day, guys, like, honestly, what started this whole thing? I just want to have some fun. Like, that's where I want us to get back to that. Like, when can we just get back to let's have some fun? Let's enjoy the things that we love. I mean, to each their own. If you want to flip, if you want to do your thing, I mean, you engage the way you engage. Nobody's controlling anybody. You're going to do what you're going to do. For me personally, I get the most satisfaction out of the games when I buy what I love and just enjoy the darn thing. I mean, I don't know what else to say, but Too Fluent, I think you hit the nail on the head. These are hobbies. These are games. Let's just have some fun, everybody.
Alejandro, you said something earlier that was really interesting, like way before, because I asked you, you were talking about, we were talking about like value and how much it attributes to your appreciation for something. Because you even said like sometimes I like to flip, sometimes I like just to kind of buy something to kind of resell it. And I told you, or I asked you, if you were really engaged in the community, if you got really engaged in the community, does the value matter as much? And you said no. And I opened that up to you because I thought that was really cool too.
Yeah.
Of this to the moon, to the moon, to the moon.
So it's because like, well, that's just like what I'm searching for. I'm just searching for a community to have fun, to talk to. I personally like to talk to a lot of people. So if I see a community that allows me to talk about something I'm passionate about, such as TCGs, such as all this other crap, I honestly can push aside trying to resell it and just like this game just to like this game. If I can make a buck, that's great. But honestly, it's just so fulfilling when you can just go to, you know, whatever, this Discord, Instagram, or whatever.
It's like switching your return on investment to a return on time.
It's a return on, but it's also a return on your mental state or your emotional state. That's how I see it. Like, even like it's just an investment. I honestly, like, I'm not a business person, so I might be throwing investment like any day, whatever. I'm sorry, I'm using it out of context, but it's still an investment in my opinion. Just because I'm not flipping to get money doesn't mean I'm not investing. I'm still investing in my mental health and my emotional health. Because I'm engaging in this community that I know I appreciate.
Your time.
And you can like a game to like a game. Yeah, I know. You can like a game to like it. It's nonsense.
I think any resource could be used as to invest with, right? Like, you could take your time, you could take your emotions, your stress, your money. Hell, I could take other other assets. I could trade one card for another. These are all resources that I put into something. That's the investment. The key is, what value do I get back for my investment? That's the part that only each individual person can determine, because what I get value in might be something different than what you get value in, and that's okay. I think the key for a lot of game creators out there is to understand only the customer can tell you where they get customer value from. The creators can think all they want what the customer gets value out of, but ultimately the customer decides what they get value out of. Now, how close the game creator is to executing on that generally can determine success in sales and other things, because you're making stuff people want. If you don't make stuff people want, the market will speak by not buying it.
Credibility, validity. This week it's the second time that I've actually mentioned Genesis. That was an issue that Genesis had. We didn't have a product to sell for months. We needed to re-engage the community. That's literally the only marketing engine that I had, was to engage the community. And that's something that I really appreciate about really any game that has completed their Kickstarter that's still going. Like BAM. I'm so uneducated on Vanquishers, but I know they're still trying. Oh God, I had another one in mind.
I've got Vanquishers coming up in a future expo.
Who?
I recognize the name. They were on one of the podcasts before too.
Nice. Yeah, but like it's that community, putting that effort, time, energy, and you know what? I'm even going to say money into something that does not directly get you revenue, but builds credibility, validity. You should be allowed to play the long game. We had that issue with, like I said, we had that issue with Genesis. The community kind of fizzled because we didn't have anything for a while. But now we have a really loyal one. Now we have something for people to come into if they're just exploring it for the first time. Hey, if you missed the Kickstarter, but you buy the product later, what are you walking into? If you don't have an environment that's friendly and fun and cool for you, you're going to leave. They're gone. Thanks, Vanquishers. And that's another one of those things. Build, focus on the community. One of the things that drives me nuts when we talk about marketing, the end goal doesn't always have to be money. If you think that, you're gonna lose.
Yep.
You're gonna lose.
Reputation. Your reputation can make your company last longer than a good balance sheet year over year.
Yeah, it's called the marketing life cycle. There's a marketing life cycle that exists. Every company has one different. I put mine in 5. I got 5 little bubbles. Most people aren't going to be at the last one. But this is the journey that a customer goes on. Think about the customer journey. How do they get involved with your product? How do they get to engage? Start, acquisition. That's your first step in the life cycle. How do I get people? That's your general awareness. How do I get people acknowledging the game exists? That's number 1. Second thing is the nurture phase. What you're doing is you're saying, hey, now that you've seen us, let's bring you in and get you more excited and get you interested in our community. You have not bought anything yet. Not a thing yet. I just want you to get excited about the thing you buy. Third is the thing you buy. Now that you're excited about it, buy it. Try it out. Get it in your hands. Do stuff. The fourth, here's where everybody screws up. Fourth is engage. Now you have it in your hands. Do something with it. And you, the creator, need to inspire them to do something with it. Because if not, they have it in their hands, okay, now what? Now what do I do? I don't know how to do this. I have it, and you're well, I've already got my money. I don't need you anymore. No, the engage step, that's real important. The fifth is retain. You guys are probably going to not even care about that. That's the hey, you've been inactive for 6 months. We're going to try to win you back somehow. That's like when Pokemon Go sends you a whole bunch of free items because you haven't logged in a bit. It's called a win back. So that's the re-engage campaign. But those first 4 of the marketing life cycle that I would love creators to think about. How are we going to acquire people? How are we going to get the people who are interested in us to be interested in the game before buying, before the Kickstarter? That's your follow us on the Kickstarter, follow what we're doing. We're going to show you what we're up to. Give us feedback. Do a playtest day. That's nurturing. Buy stuff, engage, organize play, tournament, show your stuff. And then you get a cycle. I'll wrap this up. Then you get into a fun cycle. Every TCG has a cycle, and it actually ignores the acquire, and it focuses on nurture, convert, and engage. Nurture is the hype for a new set. New set's coming out. Spoiler season, lore, all that. New set's out. Buy it. Buy all the things. Now that you've bought it, play tournaments. Show us what you got. Show us your deck text. Do all of those things. And I need this time for you to engage because I'm working on the next set. I need a little time to build that, and then we're going to wrap right back around and nurture. Hey, you guys have spent a little time. I've used your time. I bought myself some time to make the next product. Now that you guys have enjoyed your tournaments, we're right back here. New set, new spoilers, new things. That's the TCG. That is the real TCG engine. That is how the business actually stays for a while.
Yep.
There's hurdles out there right now. There's a good question in the chats. Ida Coria says, how do you gain community trust after all the TCG drama? People are hesitant. I think it's a valid question, and I'm interested, Joey off the press, I'm interested in both your opinions. I'll share mine. So I feel to build trust, especially right now, game creators, games, just call them games, right? The companies, they need to make good on the things that they state they will do. That's kind of regardless of what it is you say you're doing. If you don't make good on it, you're not earning anyone's trust because you're not following through. You need to make good on it, and you need to have. I almost kind of feel it's kind of like managers at work. You need to create a healthy environment, and. Yeah. So to the degree that you can, I understand not everything's in your control, but create a healthy environment for your community to thrive in, and you'll build a reputation for yourself. People will begin to trust again because they base it on the actions and behaviors that you demonstrate, and you do it long enough that becomes reputation. Poof, reputation equals trust.
Don't
What
even
do
need to
you
add.
guess think?
That's the correct answer.
Yeah, like
Okay, I'm curious.
Integrity.
I'll say this.
Have integrity. That's it. That's all you got to
Yeah.
do.
Ted
So,
said it right.
so for those of you who popped in late, here's the way that I put it that made it real clear.
Go for it.
Find me a game out there right now that is riddled in drama, where that drama has anything to do with the gameplay. It doesn't. It has to do with the integrity of the creator and the integrity of the business. All of them do. You have integrity. That's going to be how you gain that trust.
Could I gain traction without advertising? I think it's going to be pretty hard to gain traction without advertising because there's a lot of stuff out there. So you're going to have to advertise yourself somewhere.
I want to know. I need to follow up
about that.
Wait, so
hey, Neo Gambit, I got to follow up because I want to know what your definition of advertising is.
Well,
Because advertising is one of those like, do I need to spend a lot of money? Do I need to start doing various campaigns, all that kind of stuff? Or is it, a lot of people don't recognize like the little things that come with advertising. Like both of you, I'm sure, have received promos, right?
Yeah.
That's actually, that's advertising. That's a grassroots campaign. You might not think of it as a grassroots campaign. You might even be excited to be like, I got all of these cards that I get to share with my community. That's good on a creator because you get to grow your audience by like, I got an exclusive thing, and they get to grow their awareness. And all it took was a couple of cards. And hey, would you be willing to spend some time? And that's it. That's it. That's gonna be how you gain some traction.
That is true.
But also, like, again, if you think it's like money, no. Little time. Honestly, time.
The community's
Even time.
But you gotta, I feel like as an influencer or content creator, and this goes with any genre of content creation, because I've watched Think Media and a lot of other creators out on YouTube that just, I mean, they're talking about totally different stuff than TCGs. The one common thing I've learned, you gotta love or be passionate about or actually use the thing that you're talking about. Like, yeah. I think that needs to be, so if someone sends you a promo and sure, you could give them the video, right? Like, hey, this person sent me a promo. Here's what it is. Here's my thoughts. But as soon as you go beyond that and you do subsequent videos, just really enjoy the thing. Like the thing, love the thing, whatever the case may be. So that way, at least you're being genuine about it. And you're not just like, hey, I'm going to keep going on this train because, they sent me promos or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's the same with anything, because people will they'll advertise like a razor, right? Like in other industries, not TCGs, and they'll just be an influencer, and they'll be like, I use this razor every day, and they'll get Amazon affiliate clicks, and they'll make tons of money off of this razor. As long as they really use that razor and really love that razor, I'm cool. But if you're telling people you do and you never picked up the product, that's where I'm not cool with it. So that's just one of the things I've learned. I'm just wanted to share out. I think that applies here.
It's called astroturfing.
Let me just put my 2 cents on that, because I think that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's a fantastic thing you brought up. For any creator who really wants to reach out to a content creator, a streamer, an influencer, whatever name you want to put it, to just push out your product, you're now putting them in conjunction to what your brand is. So whatever they do, they're still part of what you did. You reached out. Now you have this tie to them. If they fail in promoting your game or whatever you do, that's to some degree back onto the creator, because you're not looking for the right sources, right? You want to make sure you give your product out to an educated crowd, because you want that educated person or whatever to then educate more people and kind of relay that message. If you're just saying, like, here's a product, just do whatever you want, just do a giveaway or just sell it or whatever, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to work out more than, cool, I just got more promos and that's cool. I just have more cards that I can look at. But if you really take the time to be like, hey, can you really push this product? This is why it should be good. This is what we've been trying to do. Can you just talk about a little bit about that? That's where you really get more value out of just the freebie of getting more cards. You really, the community gets more freebies too. You get the right promotion that you need. So really, for any creator looking at this video now or in the future, make sure you source correctly. Because sourcing is not just manufacturing your cards, it's also sourcing who you give your product to for promotion reasons.
What I'm hearing you say is the game creators need to make sure that the content creators actually enjoy the game before they really take it further, and the content creator needs to do the same thing. They need to search within themselves, make sure you actually enjoy the game, and then continue on with it further. I think it'll serve you better in the long run. It's just, something I've learned, in my time, both on and off the content creation sort of map or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Neo Gambit, I'm going to answer you real directly. I guess we'll add more bumper stickers. I guess that'll be my thing. And it's because I'm out of beer that things just start to sound worse. Time, when you're a creator, reaching out to players, fans, any of that group, time is more valuable than money. It's more of it when we know, as a creator, I know that you're small. Don't think that you need to buy my time because I've got X number of subscribers, and you definitely don't need to buy my time because I don't have enough subscribers. But time is more valuable than money. One of the things that people geek out the most off when I send stuff out for Genesis to them?
What?
Handwritten letters.
Oh, yeah.
I've had more people comment on how much they love that than anything else. That shows that I am a part of their journey. They put time into me. That is infinitely better as a creator who is truly genuine, who's really going to get you the audience you want. That is better than I'm going to give you $500 for you to hype my game. I'm so tired of spoiler season. I think so many do it freaking wrong. And I'm throwing more Genesis stuff in a little bit because I don't like it. I would rather give a spoiler to a store. I'd rather give a spoiler to a store. I don't care how many views you have. If you've got a way to put something on the internet, if you've got 6 subscribers, I'd rather give it to them because they get to tell their entire community, we get to be a part of this. Those loyal fans of the store get to be a part of this journey of growing and moving the game forward. I'd rather that than send the same spoiler to somebody with 5,000 subscribers who says, I don't know much about this game, but the card looks pretty. Cool. Okay. The reach is going to be great, but you're just going to have people like, it is pretty. That is neat. Whereas I'm going to have a literal store owners, like their loyal community who might not know anything about the game, but like, I don't know what just happened, but I want to be a part of that journey. That looks fun. You don't need money for that. You don't. Don't worry about it. Time. Build your community. Embrace that. You're going to be great. You're going to do better than anybody who throws money at the problem.
I got a question for you too, right? For a TCG that wants to know what, I gotta say, just make a survey, guys. It's literally the best thing I can tell you. What's something that you want anyone listening to change? There's some, just a general topic, or it can be specific. What is something that you want to see in the community regarding the TCG creators that you want to change? It could be pumping the product a little bit faster, meeting deadlines, transparent. It can be changing card SAR. It can be whatever. But what's something that you want? For example, I would want more transparency. I would want to feel more a part of something. I want to feel as a part of a community. I don't care how limited this card is. I just want to be part of a community. That's what I want. How can you do that? Consistent chats, make trends, be like, okay, we meet, this is something Vanquishers does. I'm not going to say I created this. Vanquishers does this great. Status of the game, you do something every Monday. I know every Monday at this exact same time, I can talk to you on Twitch and we can chit chat. That's a guaranteed time. So that's what I want. I want to see more of these, time slots. I'm like, okay, I can make it one day, but if I miss it, I can just wait until the next week. It's not like, oh, it's sporadic conversations. And I'm like, oh shit, I missed it. Whatever, come back. So that's just something I would want.
Ted, what do you want? I like this. This is a good question. Ted, what do you want?
I had a few things roll through my head. The one that keeps boiling to the top is I want game creators to realize, and really don't just say, I get it. Think deeply and realize that when you say you're starting a TCG, you are actually starting a company. You are starting a business. And if that sounds too intimidating to you, if that sounds like, well, no, I really didn't sign up for that. I just want to make a game.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to double think if you should be starting a game. And a lot of that does caveat back to what I said earlier. It's about what your mission is. If you want to make something for fun and you're really not trying to make a business, just tell people that. But most of them out there are coming off I want to throw my hat in the ring and I want to compete for market share. I just want them to understand you're starting a company. You're not going to be doing this by yourself.
Yeah.
You're not going to be doing this with a team of 2 or 3. It's a business. So that's what kept coming to the top of my head.
You guys want some creators? Here's some homework for you off of that exact point, because that's a great one. Take that elevator pitch. Think right now what you got. Think of an elevator pitch for how you're going to get somebody to play the game. Then give me your elevator pitch for the local game store. If you tell me the two are the same, you need to do some thought. You need to have some thought about that because you're going to fail. You will fail. That's your homework. 2 elevator pitches. Player, the actual people buying the product in bulk. Game stores, whoever. If you want actually to grow into that, that's your homework.
Do you know what I love about that? When you said that earlier, you seen Shark Tank?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically what it is.
I think I remember hearing Kevin O'Leary say something along the lines of that, like, some really high percentage of people who get offers are the ones who can explain their product and its value in under X number of seconds. I don't remember, it's 30 seconds or 60 seconds. It's a relatively short period of time because it shows that they've thought it through enough to become succinct. If you cannot succinctly explain your product, your value, you're missing likely other things that are required for you to be successful. And it's interesting. And so when you said that, that's what I thought of as Shark Tank.
You're going to get tripped up on the first question of, all right, I'm glad that the players like it, but how do I sell it?
Mm-hmm.
How do I get my group that has already kind of picked their battles? How do I do that? How do I get to do that? Set 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
So my answer to that question is education. I'd like to see a change in how people are educated about the process, how they're educated about kind of games in general. I think that's what's led to a whole lot of these scams of just, you don't know how to see that. I think it also leads to the enjoyment of kind of appreciating the product and the process a little bit better and not holding creators to so high of a standard that they feel obligated to latch onto the hype engine because it's almost like a defense mechanism. I'm going to give you a wonderful example.
It's a scapegoat and it's not good.
Yeah. One of the best examples that I'm going to have as far as like general education for people is the scalability of printing. Oh my God. Holy Lord. I'd love to do a series on this. Because there's so much cool stuff out there, like the Kickstarter, the Kickstarter games, and they do some cool stuff. And they go through, companies like a Creative Hollow or something that can do those types of things, that can really hone in because they're not at scale. But when you take that kind of effort and you scale that to 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 boxes, different things happen. This is the MetaZoo problem. MetaZoo is a film, by the way. They're pretty, but like it's a film because when you have to print 100,000 boxes, you can't pay that kind of attention to at one single card. That's important. The other thing is that when you start printing at scale, you run into deadline issues. This is something that we had. We had to either kind of finish something, like we had to add something that we were worried about, but we weren't quite done with, or we had to delay the product for 2 months because if we don't go to the printer in the window that we have, there are other products that get in the way and their projects get to finish. Like just an understanding of that goes a long way. It lets people kind of appreciate like, hey, okay, you don't have to be perfect. And it lets those creators say, it's like, I don't have to at least have other people suggest that I'm perfect. And if I'm not perfect, I at least don't have to try to have them suggest that it doesn't matter because this is going to be worth $400 the second you get in your hand. Oh, I hate that stuff.
Yeah.
I'd love more education on just how the process works.
One thing,
couldn't you scale your internal engine at your company though? Like you had made a statement at that large of a scale, you can't focus on one single card too much. But couldn't you, if you had enough people working on the set, right? Because then you scale the the human element enough to where maybe you can.
So no. Actually, because you're not at the mercy of manpower. You're at the mercy of machinery.
When you say
difference, when you go from
the planning phase is the plan is prior to the machinery, right? The ideation and the planning of the set, the designing of the car, that's all pre-machinery. So if you give it more people, let's say you have two people building a 165 card set and you give them 6 months. That means they've each got to take 80 cards, right? If I had 4 people, they've all got to take 40 cards. I'm just saying I'm sure there's a point where there's diminishing returns. But if your design team gets larger, You could get
enjoy
to
the
the point
premium.
where each person only has to handle 15 cards, and they've still got their same time window to do it prior to the machinery taking place. I'm just being devil's advocate that if you scale your team, can't you overcome some of these challenges?
And the answer to that is still no. Scaling a team does not mean you have scaled how much printing you can do at one time. You can't. If I need to send, yeah, it's a press issue. If I have to send 165 cards, if I have to create my sheets, and I need you to print 400,000 of those sheets, there's no this printer prints 150, this printer prints 150, and this printer prints 100. That's not a thing that exists. There is no contract on Earth that you can have with a printer that prints at scale that they're going to let you do that.
We might be talking about two different things, because I'm talking about card design.
Card design is different. I'm talking about manufacturing.
When you said, this is why I like long form, because we get to unpack stuff so that we can understand. When you said
this time,
I know.
Now it's college.
You guys shouldn't ever let me on, because now I made this whole thing longer. When you said that you can't focus on one card, I thought you meant the design of the card, the mechanics, the art, the layout of one card. That's what I thought you meant.
No, I'm talking about the very specific QA process of things. I'm talking about the actual laying out.
Okay, I'm with you. Okay, I thought you were talking about, because I thought you were meaning like the impression of a company may produce a bad card in the game because they're at scale, which would be in the design phase, not in the manufacturing phase.
Yeah, I'm purely manufacturing. You're as far as growing the team and growing game design and whatnot. Yeah, you're 100% right of just better better design. But when it comes to everything else, you're at the mercy of printers. You're at the mercy. You have to make crappy decisions sometimes. You're also at the mercy of their technology. You're at the mercy of the blades. You're at the mercy of rollers. You're at the oh my God, foils. Hey everybody, you know why? Why Creative Hollow foils are better than anybody else's? When you're printing at scale, it's because you don't have to deal with humidity as much. Literally humidity. The humidity in the room affects the paper. It affects the paper before you put ink on it. It affects it after you put ink on it.
And shipping it.
Depending on where it's at. Foil is a metallic. It has a different temperature threshold than paper. So it's gonna if it's gonna contract or if it's gonna contract or not, the temperature in the room when you applied it is gonna change things. That's something that you're stuck with at scale. You don't get a choice there. It's that kind of stuff. It's that kind of understanding and knowledge. That's why foils curl. That's one of the big reasons foils curl. There's a lot of depending on the technology and the printer and what you use, some have figured out the ways to kind of work around that. Right?
Did you know you guys can fix that if you guys have card collections with foils? I've proven it. I've tested it myself. Are you aware of that? Is this known?
Share the insight.
Okay. There may be different techniques, but the general idea is you've got to suck the moisture back out of the cards. So I put the cards in a Tupperware because those are generally airtight, because you could put liquid in a good Tupperware, turn it upside down, and it's not coming out. So you put it in a Tupperware, and you've got to get a desiccant bag, something that'll suck the moisture out of the card. And I did this with a Magic the Gathering had premium sets back in the day. There was a Graveborn set, and it was a deck, my bad, not set. The whole deck was foil. And I got one, looked like a thing of Pringles, it just came in just a whole set. And I was so disappointed. I researched it. I found somebody. I wish I could credit them now because this was 6 years ago or something. I can't remember who it was. On YouTube, recommended this process. You throw them in a Tupperware, get a desiccant bag in there, put them in overnight, and make sure they're spread out a little bit so the new drier air from the desiccant bag can suck the moisture out. And they flattened out, no joke. I didn't need to put weight on them. They completely flattened out. And what you got to do is double sleeve them.
This doesn't work, guys. Putting a foil in between heavy stuff doesn't work. It's
That doesn't fly.
It shows the creases.
You're just bending it the other way then. But you got to double sleeve them after you've sucked the moisture out so that you have it's harder for the moisture in the air to get back in there because now you've double sleeved. So I've actually fixed that kind of stuff. But for anyone who didn't know, there you go.
To bring it all back on freaking point, because we could do a whole stream on manufacturing processes. I'd love more education. I think that's what the industry needs.
Education is
Guys,
great.
I feel like, hold on, I feel like I've got to drop because this was such a blast. And off the press, I got to thank you for letting me on the stream. And actually, we've never collabed, we've never done anything before. Joey, this is the first time we've been on a stream together, so really appreciate it. Totally was a blast. But
Yeah.
I also, I've got to run. My wife's in Ireland, and I'm taking care of the kids by myself. And two, I feel like I've got to let you two get back to your original topics, your original purpose for the stream.
We're at
So it was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
Before you go,
Yeah.
I gotta ask for the clip art of the stream. Just post for me for 2
Yeah.
seconds. Just a quick post, and someone take a screenshot and send it to me. Okay, just a quick.
Dang it! I'm out of.
Okay, make sure you take a screenshot, please. Okay, cool.
There you go.
I think that's enough.
I'm mad. I'm out of beer. You can
Actually,
complain. You can complain that it's been so long. That I'm out
I'll
of beer.
take the screenshot if you want to guarantee it, because I don't know if somebody did or not.
Sure,
You want to do it? I got my finger right on the button.
All right, dude, I'm ready.
Joey's not paying attention. Wait, hold on. I got it with my volume meter. Hold on, one more time.
I can only be so mad at this beer.
Okay, I got it perfectly. I'll send it to you.
Hey, I gotta say this.
This was fun, guys. This was really
Yeah.
fun.
So good to chat with you always, Ted.
Do anything.
Take it easy.
You're welcome to hop on in the future, but I appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, same here. Peace.
Peace.
Mm.
That was good.
All right, Justice Chickens.
Just chickens. I'm not a chicken.
I don't know if you want to. Whatever.
Hey,
I used to say Justice Girls. Like, let's get humble. Just a joke. I don't know if you want to, like, you're like way over time. We missed half of what we were talking about. We didn't even touch the triad. I'm not even going to touch that.
Nitsa.
That's such a.
Well, hey, you know what I gotta say about this? This is TCG Talks number 8. There's obviously gonna be a number 9, a 10, or whatever. Dude, Joey,
Right?
you're more than welcome to hop on. We can definitely chit chat about this again. However, one of the biggest things I want you guys to realize is education is very powerful. Also, accountability is very good. Make sure you hold people accountable. Creators, hold yourself accountable for your actions. Consumers, hold yourself accountable for your own actions. Community, put people accountable for what they do. That's what I gotta say.
Right? If you don't think you're alone, you won't be.
Put that on.
Should be that hard.
Also, I gotta say this for the pitch. I think this is a fantastic thing. The pitch idea, right? When this is just as a content creator, this is my side. If I see a game that they're like, hey, can you just really promote my game? I think it's coming out. It's gonna be the best thing, and that's all you tell me. What makes you different from another game? First of all, okay, let's take it a step further. You told me it's gonna be a great game. You can explain a little bit, but it's not clear. Why are you making me go through the trouble of trying to wrap my head around what you have to say? Make a statement, get other people to check it, vet it, and then that's what you use. Don't necessarily just go off the ball every time. If I hear you go off the ball every single time, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I just personally won't feel like wanting to support that because I have my real life. I have my own shit to take care of in real life. And then also there's other cool, like other TCGs that, they already won my confidence that I want to keep supporting. I gotta say this, for anyone thinking about what you should do after this stream, for the creators specifically, focus on letting everything we talked about marinate, and then next thing you should do is do a pitch.
Yeah.
There's a lot of resources online to look up how to do an elevator pitch. Just because you're in a TCG community doesn't necessarily mean you can't get things from, I don't know, cooking community. You can't get things from the camping community. You can't get things from the electronics community. You can get things from everything. Just piece it together. All right, try to engage yourself a little bit more.
If you're a TCG, I'm gonna give you a couple tips. I'm gonna give you a couple of things that I put in mine. One, how exactly do you branch out? Not here's how we're better. Here's what's going to get people interested. Here's that thing. Here's the hook. Here's the thing that is different. That's number one. Two, how are you actually going to enjoy this? Enjoying and your hook can be two very different things. Here's why people like it. Here's why people are interested in it. They can be two very different things. Tailor it to the audiences. Your local game stores don't care how good the game is. They really don't. I'm sorry. Think about their challenges. Empathize. If your elevator pitch doesn't have any empathy in it, you don't even do it. You might as well just read the back of your booster pack. With the legal. Doesn't mean anything. Empathize with the challenge. Empathize with what they're going through. Put that in. Get it in there. You can pull all that off in a minute. If you get the extra minute, show off the game. Show off the cool stuff. Don't say you're going to start with 5 cards. Nobody cares. You have a hand. You do a thing. Like, there you go. That's it. That's all you got to do.
That's it.
And be damn excited, and it's okay if you sound scripted. It is okay if you sound scripted. They asked for the pitch. You can even do it as a joke, like, I'm going to give you the elevator pitch. Like, all right, here we go.
Go for it.
Now it's a game. Now you've gamified the sales process. It's fine. You're fine.
I'll say this. For someone like, this is just like my 2 cents, and just like, okay, I just started my PhD career, right? And what did I have to do is pitch myself to these schools why I should be in their school. What did I do? Is prepare myself. Why? Is because when you have preparation and you mix it with opportunity, you end up having more successes than not, okay? And that translates to the TCG community. Prepare yourself. It sounds scripted, that's okay. That even shows, if you're scripted, I would say this. Please, please, please understand the difference between scripted and sounding like a robot because you're monotone. Try to be scripted, but also give yourself some personality in that script. You know, you don't have to write a script and be like, this is how a robot sounds. Be like this, use your own words. How would you communicate yourself to someone else? But make sure you understand, you know, their time is valuable. A minute is a minute.
You have 1 minute of absolute utmost excitement that you get to give to somebody. If you can't show that excitement through the pitch, you wrote the pitch wrong. Period. You did. I'm going to add one more thing, though, because, again, creators, education. Now it's creators' education time. There are places you can go. There's a whole industry out there. I'm looking through our list of things we missed, but this is one I definitely wanted to get. Look into actual company. Like, if you want, if you're not just, I just want the players and the players are going to drive this whole thing. If you are looking at game stores, if you're looking at distribution, if you're looking at marketing, reviews, like how do you actually get your game out there in good ways? There's resources for you. Look at GAMA, G-A-M-A. That's the Game Manufacturers Association. Also look at various magazines out there. ICV2 is an industry magazine all about kind of what's happening. They're a press release site, but they're a real good one. They're also a magazine that shows up in a lot of local game stores. That's the thing they buy. You know, when you were a gamer, you were buying Scry every month to figure out how much your stuff was worth and get promos. I hope some of you remember Scry and ProQuest magazine. That's like the player of what's new. ICV2 mag, that's your LGS. That's the thing that sits in their store. Board Game Geeks, good one to get on. Go find the industry experts. I don't care if you have 10,000 subscribers. If all you talk about is this is worth money, you have no credibility. Go find the reviewers. Go say, I'd love to send you my game. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Go to ICV2 and see what's happening in the industry. If you have the money, pay for some advertising. Go for it. If you've got, if you have the chance to go out to a GAMA, get a part of it. It's like $200, $300 a year. You get to be a part of a whole bunch of, industry talks and networking. You learn so much about what's going on. And then you get to go to the convention itself, which is, for us, it was in Reno last time, but, we were out there. Cryptic was out there. I gain a lot of respect for them, but you also get to talk to the people who are going to buy the actual product when you're done with Kickstarter.
That's true.
You need that group. If you can't connect with that group, you're done. Go find the industry people who will connect you to that group. Go. And then, too fluent. If you're not ready for that kind of stuff, make a thing and go to an LGS and literally just ask them, I'd love to show you my game. I'm not ready to sell this. I'm not even close. I just want to get your thoughts as a game. I'm going to show you as an LGS. Talk to me like you're an LGS that it may be interested or not. What are the things that concern you? What are the things that don't? How's my message sounding? If I told you this is my vision, does the vision resonate? I don't have to commit to money to this. I'm going to pop an LGS and find that out right there. There you go. Educate. And don't be a jerk.
There's resources that you can look up online. The internet is an extremely powerful tool. There are so many resources online, okay? But if you don't have access to a computer and you're trying to put yourself as a trading card game, this is something Joey's mentioned and I'm just going to reiterate a little bit. Put yourself in front of the LGS. Play the game. That's the least you can do. That's the least you can do. Or show a video of you going to a next door and be like, hey, do you play cards? Let's play some cards. Just show some. I literally want to see that happen. And if you're not necessarily trying to do that, then I don't know, rebrand yourself or try, don't get upset when, necessarily not everything works out. You literally gotta, you gotta think short term and you gotta think long term. And
The short term's going to be fine. Short term's a easier sell.
Yeah.
That's such an easier sell. But for the creators out there, the more educated they get, the harder that sell becomes. This 101 thing is not going to last really long. It's already not lasting.
I'll say this also. Just because you're a TCG doesn't necessarily mean you only have to talk and consult with TCG's community.
Yeah.
There's a board game community. Just ask yourself this, okay? This is the best way to generalize those two. Tabletop, right? Why are people willing to sit down and play a board game for an hour or two? Ask those people. Ask what that board game did and see what you can incorporate it. All right? Is it like an emotional connection? Is it like the strategy in it? Like just there's different avenues, different communities you can also get knowledge from. So don't necessarily corner yourself in just what the TCG community does. You know, sometimes you might not find the right answers. Really expand. Try to like branch off a little bit. There's board games, right? Apart from board games, there might be, I don't know, like hybrid games, you know, half digital, what I don't even know. But talk to some board game fanatics. They know a lot of stuff. I gotta say, that's a pretty big community and a really established community. So
yeah. And they're ready for it.
Yeah, that's it.
And they'll gladly do reviews. There are a lot of board game reviewers that just love getting free stuff for content. They have no problem doing that kind of stuff. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Do it. All right. I'm not gonna go. I won't go crazy. Again, we can go for another hour, but like I won't.
Dude, we're at 2 hours. I gotta say this. There's a lot of stuff to go over.
We missed like everything on your list.
Hey, it's totally cool. Like honestly, like I'll probably just go over the list at the end or something like that. But Joey, honestly, it's been a pleasure. Ted, thank you for stopping by. It was honestly great having you, very awesome people, just talk about what you think. Don't necessarily, community or whoever's listening, don't necessarily think that whatever we say is the only thing to abide by. Literally listen to other people as well. Get other people's attention. Get other people's advice. The more knowledge you can put yourself in, the more people you can hear, the more advice you can get, that's good. But critical thinking is very important, right? You gotta understand when advice is useful and when advice is not. But that's a whole different topic. Go on YouTube and learn how to take advice and constructive criticism and all that. And
also ask if you don't know. You guys have all figured out where I sit on the old Instagram. Feel free to shoot me a DM. Feel free to shoot anybody a DM. Hit me on Decks and Drafts. I do a couple things. I do a couple marketing things. I talk a little bit more about the life cycle and whatnot. I want to do more of that marketing stuff. I want to bring more of that in. I think it'd be a blast. But yeah, reach out. Let's chat. I want this industry better. I push real hard on these kind of standards personally, and I push big because I want this industry to be something I want to be a part of when I have kids. This model that we kind of went after at the beginning of the everything's to the moon, the new thing, like you don't open the new thing because the new thing's worth $20 a pack. I want my kid to love something and not have to worry about, he just gets to, like, I don't want you to rip this because daddy spent a lot of money on it. I don't want that. I don't want that world. So that's why I push. That's my motivation. That's my motivation.
Yep. Oh,
and yeah, throw your elevator pitches at me. Let's go. I'm all down. You got to give me two, though. I'm not going to grade you on one. You got to give me two. You got to give me both. You got to give me LGS, and you got to give me your players. Can't do both. I don't care.
Hey, you're getting the. This is like an assignment, right?
Homework.
And you're all in this class. He gave you the assignment. Do you want to get the A? Do you want to get the 50? Or do you want to get the 0? That's up to you. Preparation, opportunity equals success.
And if it's a 0, I'm making a video on you when you launch your Kickstarter, and I know some of you have seen how those videos can go. Don't tempt me.
Don't tempt me. Well, Joey, buddy, it's been a pleasure, honestly. Any last closing statements?
Gosh, just thank all of you. This has been so cool. I feel so, I'm going to go through like all of the comments, and I'm going to like hate that I didn't get a chance to see it, but thank you guys for being so open and kind of appreciating it. And thank you for not, I guess, just jumping on, I don't know what we opened up to jump on, but this has been really cool to be a part of. I know some of you are like part of various Discords where it's a lot of creators that are getting together. Keep that. Honestly, keep doing that. Make that the norm. This norm sucks. I hate this norm. I like the norm of multiple TCGs coming together and nobody's calling out how the other one sucks.
Yeah.
I love that. Let's all learn. Let's all grow. Let's have some just damn fun.
Thanks.
Thank you guys for being a part of that. Seriously. And thank you, sir, for dealing with me for 2 hours.
Hey, it's my pleasure.
My wife can't even do that.
Hey, well, I hope you figure out the debit card situation. But, buddy, honestly, it's always a pleasure talking to you or to anyone who just wants to chit chat about the community. Honestly, this is a pleasure. This is a hobby. This is a passion. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your day just to sit down and chat and also educate the crowd. So,
Yeah,
whenever you want to
definitely.
possibly do another one, man, we can pick up wherever we left off. All right, buddy?
Go bug him or shoot him or shoot me of like, all right, now what do you want to see? What do you want to see more of? And I really seriously encourage it. I know that I don't think a lot of people really know what happens. Shoot me a message. Like, hey, what does this look like in LGS? What does this look like here? What does this look like there? What don't I know about, marketing, attribution models, competitive analysis, market analysis? Like there's so much there that can just enhance. It's not you're doing it wrong. You can enhance. It's missed opportunities. Please reach out. I'm going to go. I'm going to let you wrap things up or whatever the heck you do. I'm going to hang out and look through chat. I'll still be in chat, but thank you guys. It's been a blast. I look forward to doing this again.
All right, yeah. We'll talk in the future. We'll see what we can set up, buddy.
Cheers, everybody.
Peace. All right. First and foremost, I gotta say that was such a fantastic live stream. It is sad that we have to come to an end. However, it is not over yet. I still want to go over some notes that I took over. Not that I took over. That I wrote down after chatting with Joey earlier today. But honestly, huge shout out to Ted's Basement. Huge shout out to Dex and Droughts. And honestly, I feel like I'm butchering it, but I apologize. I would just say Dex and Cervezas. I'll just say that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But just honestly, check out their pages, Instagram, YouTube. Check them out. Fantastic content creators. I advocate for more content creators to just come out. Honestly, it's fun to meet and talk with other people and share 2 cents and all that stuff. Just because I'm telling creators to get feedback, I also want to get feedback on how I do things and also see how other content creators might do things and move it around like that. So go freaking follow them, go support them, go do whatever you got to do. All right, but before I end this live stream, I do want to say a couple of things. And this was like a topic that we try to like touch on like almost at the beginning of the stream, but then we like side tangent and then we just went loose and we just went. But I honestly appreciate the just off the cuff kind of conversation. So I couldn't stop it. It had to happen. All right. But these are just some thoughts, keep these thoughts for tonight for how to avoid like another scam or anything like that, or just like some considerations in the future. Right. We already talked about, looking to creators' integrities, history of honesty. Do they have an experience? Also think about if it's a team or are they working alone. Also learn if like what's their main approach. Are they saying this is mine or this is a community built game? Know what avenues they're taking. I would say personally this as a consumer, if you're using Kickstarter and then your next thing after Kickstarter is this is my game, I'll tell you this, I'm probably gonna back out almost instantly just from hearing that. Don't say that. It's a crowdfunding game. You use the crowd to help you, right? I feel like at that point, to make it an analogy, it's like a representative. It's like a political representative and its constituents at that point. So just keep that in mind. Also ask yourself, what's the game's main audience? Is it, and this is a triad that we never got to talk about, but 1, 2, or 3 pieces of the triad, right? Collectors, investors, and players. What's their main goal? What's your audience that they want to tackle, right? You can do one of those, you can do both of those, you can do all 3 of them, and you can change, right? It can change, but just make sure you're clear about when the changes are going to happen and when that's necessarily like when you're doing one thing and another, okay? And also always look for evidence, right? Data speaks for itself, and I say this for the consumer, and I say this for the what is it called? The creators. Data speaks for itself, all right? Just because we don't have 1s and 2s and this digit and all these pretty graphs doesn't mean you can just collect data just by asking. Ask questions. That's literally really good data. One important thing, if someone thinks in isolation, to me personally, that is a big red flag, because I'll tell you this, in this life that we live in, not in the TCG community, it's never in isolation. And so what difference does that make talking about TCGs? Not a difference. No one lives in isolation, so don't think you are in isolation. If you're a creator, I gotta say this, and you are bashing another TCG, I'm gonna say, why are you bashing this TCG? And what's stopping you from bashing another game or just me the next time around, right? That's something you wanna think about. So don't be doing that. There's not necessarily a motive to bash another game. Just don't say anything. That's the best thing. That's the best thing you do at that point. Transparency. Transparency doesn't necessarily mean give me your spreadsheet and tell me how much product and how much tell me how much profits you're making. Transparency means that you're consistently being open and being receptive to the community. The community is asking you something. You don't have to respond that moment, but respond in a timely manner. Timely manner is an arbitrary thing. Use it, whatever you got to do. But honestly, like I'll just say this: for anyone working, if your boss tells you to do something and you are timely manner, it's most likely that day or the next day or something like that. Don't expect a week and everything's gonna go well, right? silence does create a lot of speculation, and speculation can lead to bad things, right? So just, tame the beast of speculation. That's all you got to do. What you can do that. I think this is something Vanquishers did really well. And this is not a model I'm telling everyone that it has to do, but just do something similar. Give yourself an opportunity and say start of the week, Monday, be like, okay, on Thursday at this time, we're going to be open for questions. And then the next week be like, okay, on this time, we're going to be open for questions. Or just do it one consistent time. Like I said before, that lets the community know that we can just ask your questions then, and we don't have to splurge all these random things. And when we don't get a response, we're all hectic about it, right? Metazoom does the exact same thing. Metazoom hour and all that stuff, right? So focus on that. Work ethic, right? If you're saying something that you're going to do something, you don't do it, that is not good work ethic. And you're leaving breadcrumbs that I'm just going to reflect on when the next thing comes out, all right? Make sure when you say something, you mean it. Don't overstretch yourself. Just because you see A do A thing or X thing, you don't have to do that because you're B and you want to be the next big thing. Just do whatever makes your game better. Think about what's beneficial for your game. Okay, well, not obviously hurting other people. For my investor buddies who want to find the next To the Moon Kickstarter, right? All right, I'm talking about a whole bunch of stuff, but to the people who want to look for the next To the Moon Kickstarter, I'll tell you this, right? Join investment groups. There's so many Facebook groups, Reddits, chats, and Facebooks, and this all that stuff that you can look into, and people are talking speculation, and people that have history in stocks and whatever, they oh, they should do this, they should do that. Find the community, and then you'll get the responses you want. Okay. Those are educated communities. If you go to communities that are just talking about random stuff and you expect them to give you this really educated answer, and you take that answer, let's say okay, I tell you X is going to do so well in September, but I'm someone who just got into the game where I just don't know anything, and I just wanted to throw that just for the conversation, and you take that to heart and you see yourself actually not invest well, that's on your fault for just trusting. I would say look for the right information, right? Next thing, do your own data and look at charts. Data doesn't lie. Data is very important. All right. There's I can't remember the name. If you guys want to put that on the what is called in the Discord, not in the Discord, in the chat, let me know. But there's a page that you can literally look up past Kickstarters and see how they did, and it gives you trends, it gives you projections on how they would do. Right. Literally, just watch a YouTube video on how to read trends and just use that to your best knowledge. There's YouTube. YouTube is such a great resource. So use trends, use projection, and use all that things to your best resource. Right. Also, talk to other people. Talk to see what other people are thinking. Are you the only one alone? Are you other people thinking the same way? Are you the first one to bring this idea? Just because you don't see anyone necessarily thinking about this doesn't mean, I think it's kick track. Yeah, outrage comic, I think it's kick track. But just because you don't see anyone else concerned about something doesn't mean you shouldn't bring it up, okay? One thing for creators, please, 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 do a Google survey. It's the easiest thing. I know a lot of us use Google, Gmail. It's not an impossible thing to do. You can literally make a Gmail account super easy and just make a Google survey, and you can make it anonymous and just let people put their 2 cents. I'm telling you, you're going to get so much free data and so much free information from that. It's going to be mind-blowing, right? Why you didn't do before, right? It's just free information. It's a free focus group. There's a reason why focus groups exist. Okay. How to find the next playable game, right? Now I'm not talking about investors. I'm talking about the player community. How to find the next playable game. Speak to other players, right? A lot of these players play other games. There's not just, I haven't met a lot of people that just play one game, that's it. Sometimes people like to branch out. Yes, there's those people who just like to play one game, but just ask other people, be like, hey, what other games do you think I should play? And that's one way to find good games that you can play. Honestly, the best thing that I found is to go to my local gaming store and be like, yo, I know they do MTG nights. Sometimes they do it on Monday. I would just go there and be like, hey, what other games you guys recommend playing? Sometimes you get Warhammer, sometimes you get these other games that you might have not heard of. But that's one way to find the next game that you can play. But also, if you want to look for the next Kickstarter, you're going to have to talk to a specific community. But, just do your own research to find that. Also, if you really want to find what's the next playable game, play the game and just give yourself that, experience. Play the game and tell yourself, how do I feel from this? Because, honestly, I'll tell you this. Just because someone hasn't said it first doesn't mean, just because you haven't heard it could mean 2 things. 1, it hasn't been said, or 2, it's been said and no one's talking about it anymore. So be the first one. Just be like, okay, no one's talked about, I want to play this game because I feel like no one has played it. Maybe I'll advocate for this game as you like it. Be that spark of that game. That's one thing you can do to find the next playable game. Try to get other people to like it. Okay, let me see. I also have compare already established games with new games to see if they have used some similarities and not, and use logic to okay, yeah. So compare games, right? If you see a game and you see the other game, you're like, they use similar mechanics. Play the game and try to see if that game is something for you, and then use your logic and your best judgment to see if you want to stay with that game. Just because you play a game once Just because you buy the product doesn't necessarily mean you need to stay with that game. Right? You just do what you got to do. Things change. You're fluid. I mean, life is life, right? I'll tell you that. Um. Oh, also, I want to say this. If you don't like something at first, give it another chance. If you don't like something after the second chance, give it one more chance. And after that, then you should start, pushing away some sides and other things like that. Because honestly, sometimes the first go around it's not the best, and then the second time you're feeling the effects of the first and so forth. So just keep that in consideration. Just because it didn't work the first time doesn't mean it's a work. Like that's it. Oh, you guys can appreciate. Yeah, I'm like reading it off. So yeah. So just make sure you're trying something and give it the time, right? Okay. So that's what I have to say for the players. And this is note for everyone. Like I said, you don't live in isolation. I already covered that. Okay. One thing that I want everyone to know, creators, whatever you want to call yourself, be aware of other games and what makes them successful or not. Okay, not only because something's doing so well, you got to copy that. Also, figure out why they're not doing as successful as you think they could be. Right? Every game thinks, or what I assume every game wants to believe is that they're going to be the best game. You want to ask yourself why they haven't become that best game, and try to figure out how you can avoid that or move forward from that in your own game. Right? That's all good knowledge right there. Like I said, don't bash another game because honestly, it doesn't look good. And one thing you got to keep in mind for anything you do is you're going to get 10 responses before you get, 10 reactions to whatever you say before, you're going to get 1,000 views to something you say before you get like 10 reactions, right? More people are going to see it and not react to it. But so be cautious about it. That's what I have to say. So, yeah. Okay. This is one thing that I personally see is loyalty is more valuable than hype. Okay. Why is loyalty more valuable than hype? Because loyalty builds a community that is there to support you because 1, 2, 3 reasons, right? Hype is just there to hype. You want to just be the next big thing. Loyalty is something a lot of people should strive for. All right. You don't necessarily have to be a creator to go for loyalty. Is you could also be a random individual. Just strive for loyalty. Try to see if you can build a community. When you look at a skyscraper, that took so much time to build, but it is a beautiful thing at the end, right? Compared to when you see like a small little tiki hut or something like that. I'm not trying to bash on anyone who uses whatever thing, but I'm just saying sometimes you gotta give some time. You gotta give some time for things to grow, and that happens, right? Sorry if that analogy wasn't the best. I don't mean to be disrespectful to anyone. That's just the best thing I can think about at this moment. But anyways, next thing, what can LGSs do to help them out? Joey alerted me about this, and it's a fantastic resource. Use informative websites/magazines like ICV2. That is an awesome thing. Okay. Also for the LGSs, I don't know if the LGS is watching now or LGS is now watching in the future or all that stuff. But honestly, you gotta, and this is also for other people, right? You gotta know your reach. You gotta know your audience. And you gotta know just because some A happens to A person doesn't mean B person is gonna do it's gonna get the exact same response, right? If you're an LGS, don't compare yourself to another person unless you guys are, almost the exact same thing, right? You guys are living in different states, different counties, different communities, different people you reach out to. Are you online? Are you brick and mortar? There's a lot of things to consider. There's a lot of factors. So compare yourself, but don't compare yourself to the point where you're trying to be identical. Identical is not that beneficial because, there's already one thing established where I have the two same things, right? So that's what I want to do. I think some of those notes were a little bit half-assed. Some of those notes were good. We talked about a lot of stuff. I'm a bit tired, but hopefully you guys enjoyed those notes that I had. And we're definitely going to talk about more stuff in the future. But that's all I got to say, honestly. That and just keep enjoying what you collect, honestly. One thing I want to make other people aware about, and hopefully you guys, feel this way, is, try to think about stuff in your collectibles not as a secondary market value, only like, oh, well, how much money this is worth. This is worth like $300, so I should put it on this nice stand, or I should get it graded compared to this $10 $10 card. You have a perceived value. Just use your own what do you perceive it? Like, why do you think that's worth that stand? It doesn't necessarily have to be $1,000 card, right? It could just be something that you like, right? Just do that. For example, this card right here, right? It's just a random card. This is maybe a good example, right? PSA 6. It's not the best grade, but why would someone want to put this card up there? It's a PSA 6. It probably sells for $40, something like that. But to me, my perceived value is that this thing is honestly priceless. Why? Is because I had this card when I was a kid. When I went to the park and I would play Pokemon with my friends on the streets, this is a card that I carried around in my pocket for good luck and to play. So perceived value is honestly, I'm telling you, as a collector who's honestly been through this, you'll burn yourself out if you just think about the next flip, because sometimes Someone else is gonna get your product before flip it to that person you're gonna think about flipping it to, and now you're left in the dust. And now you have all this crap that you have to deal with. You know, focus on perceiving it. Focus on why you think that's important. And honestly, I'm just saying that's gonna be better. Just perceive it. So yeah, think about perceived value. And also for those who are wondering, PSA 6 is actually a pretty good grade. If you notice, it says EX Mint. That means extra minty. So I think this is better than a PSA 10. But regardless of what you guys have to say, extra minty and Empoleon level X. So that's all I got for you guys. Some news. Okay, so that's it for the live stream. I really appreciate everyone stopping by and talking and just giving their 2 cents and just hearing us out. But now that that's over, I do want to bring up some news. I do have a giveaway that I'm going to post tomorrow. Okay, I got some Legions of Will. We got a whole bunch of cards here. It's a fat stack. We're going to go give away a lot of those stuff, and we got sample packs as well. Also, we got some Primal. All right, we have some Primals. What is this? This is a Primordial promo pack, right? It's a lot of cool stuff. So we have these packs as well that I'll be giving away. And I think I'm giving away a couple other things. Oh, yeah, I'm also going to give away some gold foils. I don't know exactly if it's these. I don't know, but I'm giving away some foils as well from Primal, and then a couple other things. So just look out into the future. I should possibly do that tomorrow. I think I might have more time, but there's a lot of stuff happening in my life with school, car accident, all yada yada yada. That's consuming a little bit of time. But pay attention because I'll probably be posting that tomorrow or on Saturday. But okay, so those giveaways. Also, I want to say this huge shout out to Pyro Cyber, TCBG. Honestly, like look at this. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to this game or not, but honestly, they got a full box that has literally so many cool stuff inside of it that you can just play. They got a player's menu, they got the board, they got a whole bunch of stuff. When I saw this product, I was beyond impressed, right? I just gotta say that. Honestly, I would just say this. Deliver the product, do the best you can do. And that's it. If you honestly are trying your best, people are gonna see that. If you start slacking and you try to kind of have this facade, and for those who not know what facade means, it just generally means like it's like a screen or something that you're hiding behind, but it's not truly yourself. That's like an analogy for it. It's gonna show. Okay? It's gonna show. Oh, it's cyber power. Oh, a little flipper Uni there. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. But that's it, guys. I think this has been, what time is it now? 10:46. Sheesh. This has been a minute since we started. I think this is like more than 2 hours. It's probably been the longest live stream. But for those of you who stayed watching, I really, really appreciate it. You guys are fantastic, awesome. I really do appreciate it, honestly. And for those who watch in the future, thank you so much for watching this. Like I said, go support all the amazing people that are on this chat. You know, Ted's Basement, Dex and Droughts, awesome people, all right? And also, you know, if you want to support me. I really do appreciate it. So, yeah, I think that's it. And, yeah, just one thing I gotta tell you guys, like always, is just keep collecting what makes you happy, all right? At the end of the day, the thing that you're gonna appreciate is sometimes the thing that someone else might not appreciate, but that doesn't mean it's not something you shouldn't collect or something you should hold or something. That's it. And also just enjoy the chase of not having everything. That is something you should appreciate. You should appreciate not having something. Why? Because that opens the door to communicate with another person and try to build that bond and try to trade for something. Trust me. Just literally appreciate the small things like that. And you'll honestly elevate your collection and elevate your thinking about a lot of this stuff. That's just my 2 cents in that situation. But I ran out of water. I'm running out of breath. I am tired. But honestly, I hope you guys have a fantastic night and just a fantastic week. Today's Thursday. I mean, if you guys are in Georgia, but tomorrow's Friday. So happy Friday for those folks. In the future, we're watching this and everything, and just, yeah, catch you later. All right. That's what I have. So, well, Tuflin, you can have it all, but honestly, I personally just enjoy the chase. But anyways, all right, guys. My name's Off the Press TCG. Today we have TCG Talks number 8, where we had Dex and Droughts and our awesome surprise Ted's Basement. Great content creators talk about Kickstarters and their impact and the impact on the community, and just honestly a whole bunch of stuff. It's gonna be, it's just a whole bunch of knowledge. I think we should just call this Knowledge is Power. Like this TCG Talks, Knowledge is Power. Rebranding it, but drafts, man, Dex and dude, all right, Dex and drafts. I'm so sorry. I feel like I always say it bad, but anyways, until next time, my name's Off the Press TCG. Keep collecting what makes you happy, and I'll see you then. Peace.